So, as I mentioned in the topic, don't know who's out there watching or what, but if you are, please feel free to introduce yourself or tell me where you're tuning in from. So, I missed the live stream this morning um, for good reason, right? I had a lot of stuff going on, and you gotta dedicate time to your family. You gotta dedicate time to things that matter outside of YouTube, outside of social media and all that stuff. Life goes on outside of this. So took some time to uh, take part in an event with my kids, with my sons, which was great. So my usually scheduled, what is it? I usually start at what 9:30. I usually start the coffee and camaraderie at 9:30 on Saturdays. Yeah, it just didn't happen. Again, for good reason. Got to hang out with the family. So I'm actually sitting here. I'm tabbing out my book. I'm gaining some traction on this thing. I don't know if anybody out there is reading, but in 2026, I'm gaining some traction on this guy right here. Laws of Human Behavior. Robert Greene seems to be a great author. I have not read this gentleman's books before. I have heard a lot about it. 48 Laws of Power. Now the Laws of Human Behavior. Very good stuff. So I'm sitting here as I'm talking, just kind of tabbing out the uh, the chapters as I go along. It just kind of helps me follow what I'm reading, and also starting off doing like a lot of margin writing and writing my own notes. And I saw this video on, if we all know, what's this gentleman's name? Oh gosh, it just escaped me. He wrote, let me see, what is his name? Gosh, I just The Daily Stoic, Ryan Holiday. That's his name, Ryan Holiday. So I watched the video on Ryan Holiday, right? Very cool guy. I got some of his books up on my bookshelf. He writes a lot about Stoicism. If anybody out there is into Stoicism, very cool stuff. Right now, I'm kind of trying to dissect how Stoicism kind of works hand in hand with religion. And I'm very interested in that. But, I found a way that he writes his books. He does this note card system where he reads his books, similar to what I'm doing here. He reads his books and he goes back after about a week or so, and he starts tabbing, or he starts filling these note cards and doing a system of note cards in this box. And he basically, if something has anything to do with like leadership, he'll file it away in leadership. If something has to do with mentorship or struggles or something like that, mental health, whatever it is, there's a little box in his box for that note card. And what he'll do is he'll grab all the note cards, and these are just different books, right? That he might read 10 books, and then he'll have one section on mental health. So let's just say mental health, and he'll take all those note cards, and that will be a chapter in one of his books on mental health from all the books that he's read. So very cool stuff. Kind of trying it out this year, seeing how it's all going to work out. I am about 150 pages into this. Again, I started this here in January, probably like 2 days in December, and then again in January. So I'm reading it about 150 pages in or so, and it's very good. It's very good. It's kind of tells you what different people, about different people, different personalities, what to look for. You've got toxic types, and specifically that one kind of stood out to me. I mean, the part is literally right in there, toxic types, right? And I went back to thinking about toxic leadership in the military. When we were in the military, I'm sure we've all encountered that during our military time, even if you weren't in the military. Maybe you've worked somewhere. It could be anywhere, a pizzeria, a freaking gas station, whatever, where you may have had a manager, a boss who maybe was kind of toxic, and they had a certain personality. And this kind of goes over those personalities, right? Like, were they a hyper perfectionist, a relentless rebel, the personalizer, a drama magnet? We've all seen these types of personalities. Hey, Navy cop, welcome to the Green Law Group, man. Welcome to the chat. Let me see here. Let me put you up on the screen here. He says, haven't yet, but need to get my rear in gear and get on it. My dad always tried to get me to read How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler, a running family joke, but would write a lot in his books. That's not something I've done very often. A lot of the books that I've had were all library books, and I always felt weird. I don't think we write in library books, right? I've always felt weird about writing notes. So I'd always have like a notebook on the side, and I always keep one here on the side when I'm writing notes and talking about, podcasting, or when I have a guest on. I always have this notebook here on the side writing notes, or my little, you know, piece of gear right here, a little field book on the side. I always got some kind of note taking gear. But then what I found was, as I'm taking notes, as I'm reading the book, if I want to go back and find maybe that quote that I wrote down, I gotta sift through all these pages. I'm like, damn, I cannot find this trash. It takes so long that I got to go back and look through my journals and things like that. Like, where exactly did I write that? And you got these little flags. Like what I'm doing right now is I'm just tabbing the chapters as I talk about this, tabbing the chapters that I went through, just to kind of be able to flip to it pretty fairly quick. Um, but yeah, that's when I started thinking, I will just buy the books and just write in them. I'll just write in them and tab them as I go along. I ordered some of these. One of the books that I purchased was from a bookstore, and they left one of these in there. It was pretty cool. It's like this little metal copper type of you know thing that kind of highlights your page, outlines your page, or whatever, bookmarks it. And I thought, man, that's a good piece of gear. I think they sell about like 120 for like $5-10 or something on Amazon or Walmart, whatever. But yeah, good stuff in this book, man. This is one, if you're trying to learn about people, about personalities, about elevating your perspective on things, on maybe identifying different people's personalities and how to work with different people, maybe types you should stay away from, or maybe you should gravitate towards. Maybe you know, there's a chapter on here on sense of purpose, resisting the downward pull of the group, things like that. Freaking awesome book so far. Awesome book. Again, I'm about 150 pages in. I'm working the hell out of this thing. Good piece of gear. Good piece of gear. And you see these books behind me here. See if I can move this. Yeah, I got all these books down here, and that's part of my 2026 reading list. So, in essence, the topic of today that I wanted to talk on was, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And actually, I'll do this here as I normally do. Let me copy this link. I'll paste it in the comments. If anybody wants to jump on the live stream, you don't have to have your camera on. You don't have to if you don't want to. But what I'm doing here is inviting folks to come on the line and tell me a little bit about themselves. Tell me a little bit about who they want to be this year. What kind of changes do you want to implement in your life? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? And there was a question I posed to to someone on my podcast, or on a podcast, right? And I can't recall if it was one that I recorded or one that I was on. I was just on 2 podcasts this past week, and the question was, it's December 2026. Where are you? Like, what have you done? What have you accomplished? Where are you in life? Are you in the same place that you were in December 2025? Or have you advanced? Have you completed, or have you gained some traction on that college degree? Have you read any good knowledge that may have helped you over the years, over the year? So that is it's a big deal to me, because I think a lot about that. Like, where do I want to be? Where's the milestone? What is the goal? I think a lot about that, and I'm curious to know what people out there think about that as well. Another good one here. Damn good one is, I freaking underlined the hell out of this one. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Excellent book if you haven't already read it. It's all about a man's struggle going through concentration camps, at the height of the whole Nazi thing. And he's a psychotherapist. He talks a lot about that, a lot of his observations while he's in these camps. And at some point, I mean, if you haven't read it, I won't spoil it for you too much, but at some point, he does mention that when they were freed, when they came to be liberated, people didn't know what to do because they were in that mindset. They were constantly being told what to do, go work here, go do this. They didn't know what to do. And they're like, hey, you're free now, essentially. I'm like, well, what do we do now? Like it was a foreign feeling to them. So here we go. I'm just marking up my stuff, starting with chapter 1, master your emotional self. That's a big thing too, especially for a lot of veterans out there, mastering their emotional self. It goes through Athens. It's just a good book, just a good damn book. Again, the link is on the line. I wasn't able to get on this morning like I usually do at 9, maybe 9:30 or so, like that. I had a lot of things I had to do, father duties, and I thought, you know what, I have so much fun doing these live streams and connecting with folks. Why not do it now? Why not just jump on? It's 12:40 my time, 12:40. And I thought, you know what? Let me jump on this live stream. I was on a podcast this week. I was on 2 of them. One of them being Overwatch 5-9. This gentleman is a former Marine. He's a tactics and firearms instructor. And we talked a lot about time in the military, time after the military, purpose, mindset, things like that. Then I was on Beyond the Trek. This podcast is run by an Army Special Operations officer who just talks a lot about mental, like the mental perspectives that you have going from military to civilian. And we did get into a lot about fatherhood as well. I can talk about that stuff all day because I do pour a lot of myself into my kids. I make sure that I'm raising as much as I can, right? Raising good adults, good future adults, good human beings. So we talked a lot about that. And one of the questions that he posed to me is essentially the title of this live stream here is, who do you want to be? A lot of folks are so caught up on leaving when they leave the military, going into civilian life, and they think, what do I want to do? Well, that could be anything, but what you need to ask yourself really is who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And that will kind of answer what you want to do. So it was kind of an eye-opening conversation. I don't know when it's going to get published, maybe next month, I'm not sure. But I wrote that question down because I found it fairly powerful. Who do you want to be? As opposed to what do you want to do in life? Navy cop says the same institutionalization, there we go, that we find with long-term inmates and long-term veterans is wild how similar they are. Yeah, I agree. I was in the same boat, right? You recall getting your DD-214 and then wondering, like, what's next? What happens now? I was so happy picking mine up. And the next day, I'm like, well, hey, there's that. I got my DD-214 in hand. What do I do with my hands now? What do I do with life now? It was kind of an eye-opening experience. It really was. I've been thinking a lot about what's going on in the U.S. recently, and where I want to be, where I fit in with all of this. I'm so far removed from, in at least my location, from all the stuff that's happening in the U.S. But it really makes me think, um, about the future of all this. The future of my kids potentially growing up and being caught up in all this. So I do have to, as a parent, it's all around us, right? I'll watch every so often. I'll watch the news. I don't try. I don't not as much as I used to, but I will sometimes watch the news. Sometimes I'll watch like those funny stand comic things that they have, like the night shows and the late night shows. And my kids will be there, and they're like, "Oh man, what's happening there?" And Nacho Man Ranchi Salad, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, my kids will come in and ask me, what's going on today? What's new in the world now, right? And I feel like I would be doing them a disservice if I, as a role model in their life, did not sit down with them and explain to them the realities of life, the realities of what they may be getting into in life later on. You know, my son, teenage son, wants to join the the Naval Academy. He wants to be a naval officer. I talked him out of being a Marine Corps officer, and for good reason, right? It was like, you can start do something that you really want to do. You just have to understand people's personalities, and I understand my son's personality. He's way smarter than I ever was at his age. So I'm just a freaking knucklehead. So I'm like, hey, let me just go and be a Marine, right? Uh, but yeah, I understood his personality. I'm like, hey man, go. You're so smart. Go into the Navy. Go to the Naval Academy, dude. You got it made. You can make it. So that's where his mind is. But I had to open him up to the realities of like, hey, once you join the Naval Academy, once you become a naval officer, you are in the Navy now. You are in the mission, right? To fight battles, win wars, etc. So I had to sit him down and actually talk about the realities of the world, the good parts, the dangerous parts, the realities of it. Because as a parent, if you don't prepare your kids effectively for what's to come, you're going to be doing them a disservice, I believe, later on in life. Uh, Nacho Man Ranchi Salad, Nacho Man. I want to be a Nacho. Oh, okay, Nacho. Okay, gotcha. Nacho Man, I got you. All right. I was. It took me a second there, man. Uh, and hey, thanks for coming by, Nacho Man. And I think it was I can't remember this gentleman's name. It was H Town Veteran on his podcast. I just happened to be on and shout out to him too. I just happened to be online around that time. Every so often, I jump on YouTube to see how everything's going, check out my analytics and stuff like that. And I saw that this gentleman was on a live stream. And I thought, you know what? Let me jump on this guy's live stream. And he sent me the link, jumped on it. They were having a discussion about, I don't know, Lieutenant Colonel Gade. I have very limited things I have to say about this man and what he has to say. I understand his platform and things like that, that he does have a platform. He does have influence over some folks when he does speak. But I just really didn't have much to say about that. The fact that maybe he doesn't want to be called a veteran. I'm like, well, he may not want to be called it, but I guess if he joined and he served, and he technically, by the book, he is, right? So I don't know. Limited things to say about that, dude. I don't really get into that. Let me see. But Nacho Man, it was good to see you out there. I think I saw you. I think I saw Charlton Zimmerman out there too. So shout out to you guys for that. Truly appreciate you guys coming by and hearing me flap my gums about whatever was going on in that podcast. Very entertaining, by the way. He runs a very entertaining podcast. If you haven't already checked him out, H Town Vet is his name. Excuse me. Navy Cop says a good podcast to check out at some point is Dangerous Intellectuals by Brigadier General retired Blaine Holt. He has a really deep perspective on a lot of the current things going on in the world. Yeah. I'll definitely check that out. I've been connecting with so many other folks in the YouTube space. I find I message them via social media and all that, and I find their the contact info. We go back and forth, and a lot of these folks, they're open to talking on the YouTube channel, on the podcast. So we'll see where it goes. I've got a few coming up on Monday. I've got this gentleman named Rob. He's coming on the podcast. He's coming on, well, the Green Law Book, right? So this guy is an Army captain, I believe he is, active duty, and he built this entire Space A platform, which is, it was kind of eye opening because I've taken Space A, and it can either work for you or against you. You could either be sitting there for hours or even potentially days. You have to come back to the terminal and see if there's any room for you and your family, or it might work for you and you fly out that same day, that same morning. So it's a hit and miss thing. But yeah, we'll be having him on the channel on Monday. He has this company, this thing called EB Travels, and it's so cool the way he did it. He basically took all the Facebook posts on these terminals, like I don't know, terminal in Seattle and across the country, and essentially he consolidated all that stuff into a website with automatic updates. It checks updates every 20 minutes, and essentially you can opt to get emails about this stuff, about all these terminals and all these flights going out. So very cool stuff. I mean, dude's a lot smarter than I am when it comes to that. But when it comes to Space A, that's one thing I want to get into in 2026. At least check it out a little bit more. So Space A. Let's see, Navy Cop. What do you got here, man? General Holt has been a guest on the North Idaho Perspective podcast, and he is one for over an hour at a time, and it flies by. He's a really dynamic guy for sure. Excellent, man. I'll have to check him out. Forgive me, I have not heard of the North Idaho Perspective podcast. I did not know there was such a thing. That is a very niche thing, right? The North Idaho Perspective podcast. Never knew that existed. I might run the or maybe somebody out there, maybe you could run the I don't know, the North Washington whatever podcast. That's a very niche thing. That's funny. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah. So essentially the title here, what I want to talk about is, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 2026? Because I firmly believe that it doesn't have to take part in January, though. That's like the mark that we always give each other because that's the start of the new year, right? But who do you want to be? Like, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? If I asked you, and you can comment in the comments, if I asked you, if I put the scenario in front of you, it's December 2026, right? Let's just say it's December 2026 today. What have you done to make yourself better all year? What is your milestone? What is your goal? What do you want to do? Do you want to become a better father, a better speaker, a better reader, a better writer, a better person? What is your goal? What do you want to do? Do you want to find a job? Jobs are hard to find these days. I know tons of people there. I mean, shit, I look at LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every so often. People are looking for jobs, and it's hard out there. Maybe that's your goal. Navy Cop said it's a group of Idaho realtors, first responders, and vets. I'm looking at moving out there at some point and found them. Feels very comfortable listening to them. Very military. Excellent, man. I like that. I like that you clarified it because I didn't know what that was. The North Idaho. So Idaho Realtors. I got you. Oh, we got Rob here. Let's see. Let's bring him up here. Am I clicking you and you're not coming up on the screen? Give me a second here. Rob, can you hear me at all?
I can. I don't know if it's reciprocal or not, but
yeah, I can hear you. Let's try this. Try coming back in here because button that says bring you up to the screen, but it just has remove. So let me just try it one more time, and then I will. Yeah, there we go. Jesus. Damn. You know, he used all his StreamYard credits. Pay up, Rob. Dude, we just paid for StreamYard. StreamYard is not cheap, dude. We just paid for this. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. No wonder. It was on my bad, Rob. Man, that was on my side. I should have pressed the button to put it side by side, but I was being greedy, or maybe I didn't realize it. So what's
I
going
do
on?
like the comment though. I like the
Yeah, you got
cop comment that I'm
Yeah.
I'm in StreamYard debt.
StreamYard dead, dude. Yeah, I wasn't. I run StreamYard with my co-host John from the Military Retirement Podcast, and it is these software things are pretty pricey, and they always keep jacking up the prices, right? So we're constantly going back and forth trying to figure out what's the best one that can give us similar features.
Mhm.
But StreamYard is just so easy to use. I mean, when I
Yeah.
used Riverside, it was like you got to log in. It's more useful when you're doing it through a desktop, not through a phone. At least StreamYard allows you to go through a phone. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I give you a shout out on LinkedIn for thanking you for coming on the podcast,
Thank you.
on the live stream. Very cool to find you on there. Yeah. So how have you started your new job yet?
I
This week,
start
or is
on
this
Monday.
Monday?
So,
That's right. That's right.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Part of me feels like I'm PCSing in a way. Like I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is, aside from mundane entry level jobs that I had in high school, like this is my second career. This is my second act. So in a sense, this is the second job I've ever had. So I don't know how to approach it other than the way I've approached every single new position thus far. So I got my my first day of school, first day of work outfit ready for Monday. And
it is an exciting feeling, man. It really is. Just not knowing what you're going to get into, but also kind of excited to start something new. I felt the same way. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I know it's not the same same response to your Q question. Whereas this is more like what I want to do. But it kind of feeds into the same mindset that for the last, 2025, half the year I was retiring, the other half I was retired. So it was kind of just a whirlwind of emotions, mostly positive. It's just you're going through so much in those 6 months prior to, and then the 6 months afterward, especially since I mentioned it this morning on a LinkedIn conversation that I didn't have a plan, and that's certainly not the right mindset to have when you're leaving, especially since for about a year and a half prior to, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to have for a plan, but I just couldn't settle on what I wanted to do until I actually got out there and really observed what civilian jobs and professions were not only like, but which ones were available. So in hindsight, would I recommend not having a plan before you retire? Absolutely not. But my family situation, it worked. My pension could carry us through, especially since my wife worked, and we were all pretty much prepared for the big day. So in my case, it was the right thing to do, was to just take a break, kind of drag my feet a little bit and figure out what the right circumstance would be. And I think I found it. Time will tell, but I moving to we're moving through 2026. Looking to be a difference maker. I like leaving things better than how I found them. I think this role will offer a lot of opportunities to do that. And our, clients, students, whomever, like our constituents, if you will, they'll be able to reap the benefits if I do a good job, which
I'm sure you fully plan to do a good job.
Yeah, the only way I know how to work is to give it my all. So
Excellent.
I feel like that will carry me through. So, like I said this morning, they took a shot on me, and I owe it to give it my best effort. So, work-wise, I'm looking to be a difference maker in 2026.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think that being retired versus just being a veteran kind of gives you that that kind of cushion as well, because we do have that pension right on top of potentially any VA disability or anything like that. We do have that pension that's kind of a cushion, right? Plus, you said your wife works, so that always helps out too.
Yeah.
So you had some time to think about exactly what you want to get into.
I did. It didn't come without uncertainty and trepidation. I think as time progressed, it became more realistic that I could be retired. But in your mid-40s, being retired, none of your civilian friends are at that point yet. So even though I am close to home, it does get a little bit boring after a while if you still have more energy in you. And in my case, I did. So we'll see what transpires. I have a good feeling about it, though. I really do. I have an optimistic approach, and I think I found the right fit for me. So.
Yeah. I love that for you, man. I really do. And I fully agree that retiring at like fully retiring, like I'm going to go sit at the beach all day or whatever you like to do all day at 40 years old, that gets old after like 2 weeks. So I know from experience, man, because I can only be at the beach for so long. I love the beach, but I'm like, man, I got to do something else with my life.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I fully know that. Yeah.
And then aside from the new role, I'm also looking at becoming more of a mentor and advocate. I would say primarily for those that are going through the retirement process, because it is kind of it's a daunting experience. I mean, it's a very positive and good one and well earned, but there's just so many unknowns and so many. It's a walk that nobody that you're serving with has gone through, unless, of course, they came back in. So you're kind of a loner on that front. It takes reaching out to people who have been there before, and in the perfect setting, they've been there recently, because things are always changing. Things are changing. You make a lot of mistakes that you hope others don't make. You find things out on the fly, and I just feel like my peer group, if they haven't already retired, they're going to be approaching that, and I want to be a good resource for that, if nothing but to promote, this channel and promote podcasts like the military retirement podcasts that are available that also have that firsthand experience, and to provide some of those resources, because. Looking back on it, the resources that I tapped into, some were better than others, admittedly. But if I didn't take advantage of what was there, I probably would have been a lost cause as far as being able to find my next opportunity. Just good example is Recruit Military. They're a nonprofit.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they do a really good job with webinars. I was actually on one last week. They're webinar instruction, but they're interactive on the chat. So you can't go on camera, but you can ask your questions accordingly, and they'll answer them live. but I went on a LinkedIn, mastered the LinkedIn profile. When I sat in on that for an hour, I realized I got a lot of work to do on my LinkedIn profile if I wanted to be as effective as it probably should be. But I also did I was a participant in a resume course. And with all the resume training and preparation that I had in the past year plus, that 1 hour webinar was the difference maker for me. It was the best resource for my particular case. And I actually got complimented on my resume during my hiring process. And it was, I owe it all to that 1 hour that I spent in November or October, I think it was, attending. So
that's excellent, man. Yeah. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Is, to make you a little bit better. I've tried to jump on some. I kind of feel like I've learned a lot of what I need to learn. It's good to kind of get the rust out if you're looking to get back into stuff. Like you were looking to get it back into work. So, potentially doing some LinkedIn stuff or, some resume stuff. I don't know. I'm on LinkedIn. I just don't, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just whatever is now on my feed. It feels like a glorified kind of Facebook to me. But
it's becoming that way.
Yeah.
And I think you said if it depends on what's in your feed. It's going to be. It's real world talk is what it is. So
right.
Whatever is on that particular poster's mind is going to be broadcast.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. And I'm constantly clicking. I don't want to see this anymore. I'm constantly clicking that. Like, don't show me this anymore or whatever. It's becoming something else. Like, because I connect with a lot of podcasters on there, and a lot of these folks are, it's a lot of look at me type of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know that a lot of these folks, just from my perspective, I don't know that it's the flex that I think they think it is, putting what they're putting out on there, but it's not a good look for a lot of it. Now, a lot of it is good for connecting, right? I still get LinkedIn connections just about every day. Whatever, I'll put comments out there. I'll put, stuff about the podcast. Like, hey, I'm connected with folks all the time. I talked about Georgia Joe, how he called in from the hospital bed, after like messing up his back, put that out there. I was like, man, that's what the community is about, right? This guy felt compelled to call in laying in a hospital bed. That's what it's all about, just connections and stuff. That part I love, but the old look at me, I'm not a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm. No, I concur. Yeah. I agree. And I felt like I had some more things written down, but this is my problem. I write down a couple of notes and then I mix them all up in one sentence. But
no worries, man. We can go to the comments here real quick.
Yeah.
Let me see. Navy Cop says, check out OBS. It's similar, but may require more admin than StreamYard. Dude, I have OBS. Thank you for that, Navy Cop. I do have OBS. I use it sometimes for my regular, podcasts or the YouTube channels that I record, and then I'll edit them in another program. But OBS, to get OBS to be like a streaming thing, it takes a lot of like background admin work that I'm just not willing to do, man. I've grown to be and lazy in my ways, I suppose, and like what I like. If I had to shell out a couple bucks to have a software do it all for me, then I'm willing to do that. What's Nacho Man say? After 6 months retired, then I had to ask what now? 5 years later, I'm still asking. Yeah, I completely get it, man. And then he asked, are you moving back to Southie?
So the answer
explain the Southie. Go ahead, answer his question, but please explain it.
it's a nickname for South Boston, which
Mhm.
I'm not from, so I wouldn't be going back there. But even if I was, it's now too expensive to move
Oh,
back
really?
up. So yeah,
Yeah, I assume it is.
I have family from that area, and
Mm.
my grandmother passed away already. And we had moved out. My family sold their house, but that whole greater Boston area is just too much. So I'm comfortably set about a half hour south of Boston.
Excellent. Yeah, I only know really what I watch in the movies. I want like The Town, stuff like that. Those
Yeah.
movies. And then I had a Marine who was from Boston. He was from Chicopee.
Okay. That's
Chicopee.
Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, Western Mass. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Chicopee. So he would rep Boston real hard. And I think I told you about the map that he had tattooed on his rib cage, but they actually tattooed it backwards. So
Yes,
it
you
was
did.
like it was like looking in a mirror. I asked him about it. I was like, I'm looking at Google Maps here. I'm like, shouldn't it be on this side? And he's like, oh shit. Yeah. So it's like it's on your body now, dude.
Yeah. Boston's separated into, I mean, they're all the city of Boston. They have like the same municipality and like the same
Mhm.
police department and fire
Yeah.
department, whatnot. But it's separated into these little like subsections. I mean, they're technically not their own cities independent or independent towns, but they have
Mhm.
their own local cultures. So like Charlestown, that's what the town was based off, the townies.
Mhm.
South Boston was an Irish neighborhood, Southie, and that's next to Dorchester, which is another typically Irish neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. He'd always talk about Dorchester too. So that
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Yep. Jamaica Plain,
Mhm.
Hyde Park. There's various communities within, and the city itself is not that big, in when compared to other
Mm. Yeah. It's
major
like it's
cities.
one of those that where you cross a street and you're literally in that new neighborhood.
Yep.
I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had discussed the Constitution. I believe it was Navy Cop that had brought it up, the USS Constitution, and that's actually Charlestown. So, and it overlooks the
Mhm.
Boston Harbor. So that should be on everybody's bucket list. It's a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, we were looking at going out there. I was just having to talk with my wife about it because we like to do like a different city in the U.S. and then a different country. Come around summertime, right, with the family.
Mhm.
And so we were looking at one of them was Boston. Because she had never been out there. At one point when I was stationed out in Newport, I put my out of bounds thing, chit, and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'd like to go to Boston. I've not been out there before." And so we went out there. We we caught a game out there over at the park, and then I guess right outside the park, there's a bunch of like vendors and nightclubs and stuff out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we ended up going to one of those, and we had a little bit too much to drink anyway. So of course we stumbled into a nightclub that things don't work out the way you want them to, and then you get escorted out of the nightclub. But that's we're young and dumb back then. But it was fun. It's a great town to be in. I fully enjoyed it, and I told her, hey, why not go back? Let's go check it out again. I would love to go see it, but at least like not three of them this time. I'd like to go see it, from the perspective of not being intoxicated.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I would recommend. I would always recommend that for a couple or a family. I think it's a great city to visit. Um, the restaurants, the food is very good. Like if you went on the
Mhm.
Freedom Trail, for instance, that's Paul Revere. So that's
Oh, really?
that's so you can see Paul Revere's house. I'm not going to say you can see his entire route because he went by horseback and through
Yeah, it's pretty
various
long, eh?
sections, but like you can see where a lot of the lobbying and the townspeople were, and you can do a tour, but it's in the North End, which is an Italian rich community, and the restaurants are second to none when it comes to Italian food. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if you drive, you can actually park on base at the Coast Guard base and walk, because that's in the North End. It's
yeah. I assume parking is at a premium out there.
Yeah, if you can even find it. Yeah, it's very, very expensive. But for like it's a walking distance from the Garden, which is where the Celtics and Bruins play, or in various other concert venues. We'll park there and take the 15-minute walk. It's less than a mile. And
right on, man.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient.
Yeah. Really. If we do end up going, man, you might have to give me some sightseeing tips or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite cities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're from there.
Yeah, but even even when I come back to visit, that we'd go into the city, go into town, and get some seafood, get a game in, just hang out. It's a great place to be.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I wish I had the same mindset you do about where I grew up. I grew up in Jersey, right? And my kids wanted so badly to go over there. You know, we were talking about going to New York at one point, and my kids were like, "Hey, can we stop by where you grew up in Jersey?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we can stop by there." And at one point there was conversation of, "Hey, why don't we just move to Jersey?" I'm like, "Hell no. Like, I would never raise you where I was raised. Like, hell no." And I joke, but it's real. It's like I grew up around the corner from where they filmed Lean on Me, that school Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. That was the high school I was supposed to go to. And I'm like, there's no freaking way that I would ever raise my kids where I grew up. But well, I mean, it wasn't like a history rich place like Boston is. You know, Boston has that Paul Revere area, you know, Boston Tea Party area. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what does that have where I grew up? Nothing. So Morgan Freeman, I suppose.
You got the American.
Well, they filmed Sopranos there, so that's different.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got the American.
They threw a guy
Dream
off the
Mall
bridge.
now.
Yeah.
It's the second largest mall next to Mall of America.
The American Dream Mall. Is that they maybe did something with like the Willowbrook Mall, the Paramus Mall, maybe? That was all out there.
They could have. It's, you know what it's near? It's near the Giants and Jet Stadium. Is it Meadowlands? It's like you get past the stadium, and then you have this humongous facility, and that's the American Dream Mall. But my daughter wanted to go to it. I have family that are from the Red Bank area. I don't know if you know where, like Monmouth County.
Yeah, I know what that is.
And we stopped by there, and she actually likes that area. She, you know, that particular part of New Jersey. So when we were headed there, she wanted to stop at the American Dream Mall, and one thing they had was a Toys R Us, like a legit 2-story.
So like in today, like how long ago was this?
Last year, I think is when they built it.
They still have them? I thought they completely went out of business.
Yeah, so they did. They have one flagship store left, is my understanding, and this one is like the Toys R Us.
The one.
It's 2 or 3 stories high. It's humongous, but it's a walk through memory lane. So it's if you have to, I mean, if you're passing through New Jersey, it's worth a stop, I'd say.
Yeah,
they have an amusement park in there. It's enormous.
That's cool. It's kind of like somewhere, I think it's Washington or Oregon, they have the Blockbuster, like the last Blockbuster that exists. Is it Oregon?
Yep. And
something like that.
Funny you say that. They I can't remember the town that was, but when we lived in Washington, my daughter's hockey team played a team from Oregon. I can't remember if it was a tournament or if it was a friendly invitational. But when they came out of the locker room, they actually were sponsored by the Blockbuster, the last Blockbuster. It was in their town. So it's like, oh, those are the coolest jerseys I've ever seen, you know?
Hell yeah. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Jeffrey the Giraffe. Yeah, I remember being out in what was it, in Charlottesville, Virginia, and right next to where we go went to go have breakfast, there was like a Toys R Us building, but it was completely broken down. Like
Yeah.
Jeffrey the giraffe was just like hanging sideways off the top. And I'm like, man, it is kind of a sad thing because we grew up with that. You go in there. My parents never bought me anything in there because everything's so freaking expensive.
Mhm.
But it was kind of like just nice to walk around, like what could be. But they couldn't keep up with the times, man. Amazon and all the online stuff took it over.
Yeah, we had, I don't know if you had KB toys back then
Yeah,
too. They were more mall
yeah.
centric, but,
At the malls, yeah.
yeah, I think it was a Toy Soldier that was their
Mhm.
icon. But, yeah, it was cool to go through it just because it even smelled the same. Like, you don't think of a
Oh,
smell in
really?
Toys R Us, but it smelled like outgassing plastic from the figures or something. It was a very unique scent that I wouldn't
Yeah,
have thought of unless I was standing there. Like, this
yeah.
even smells like Toys R Us. So,
That's cool. That's cool. I want to be a Toys R Us kid, huh? I could never be a Toys R Us kid. We didn't have enough for me to become one. That's funny. Um, let's see real quick. Go into the comments here real quick. Nacho Man says, "How about them Patriots? How
yeah,
about them Patriots and
tomorrow
Pats
at 8. Yeah, playing the
tomorrow?"
Chargers.
I recall being in Providence, man, years ago. There used to
Yeah,
be a right in front of the Providence Mall. There was this like restaurant called Fire and Ice or something outside
yeah,
the
it's still
mall.
there. Yep,
It's still there.
yep.
And then in that, I guess there's like a little park right across the street. And I just recall that name of the Fire and Ice, but there's a little part in the middle. And I wasn't I was at this time, it was probably in 2004. I was out there for some training in Providence in Newport. And my it was a friend of mine who had a truck while he was at that school. And we went out to Providence. He's like, the Patriots gonna be out here. I'm like, I knew nobody in the Patriots. Right. And I was just kind of like they were meeting people, and I'm going down the line, just shaking everybody's hand. And the guy's like, "Oh, you got to meet Teddy Bruschi?" I was like, "Yeah, whoever the hell he is." Teddy Bruschi. I was like, "Yeah, apparently he's a big deal." I didn't know who these folks were, so it's funny. But yeah,
Linebacker. Yeah,
Providence. Yeah, yeah. I mean, big dudes, right? Obviously, they're NFL players.
I
Let me
guess
see what we got here.
I guess I stand corrected. Fire and Ice closed recently, so it isn't there anymore. But
It
I
was
know
there
the
before. I never
storefront
went in
is.
there. Yeah. I always wonder about that store. Let me see. Navy Cop says, I'm trying to do the travel agent thing too. The things you do to earn a living. I'm curious about the travel agent thing. How does that work? Given that I mean, there's like Priceline and Expedia and all these things. Like how does that work? If you can give me some insight on that, Navy Cop, because you've sparked some curiosity in me now. Let me see. And then I know he put up here something about drone work, getting a third interview. Was it
Nice, man.
drone work? Is that like the section? I think it's section 7 pilot's license that you got to get for drone work. But a paycheck is a paycheck, so we will see. AAA is opening a new office in town, 10 minutes commute, so we will see. That would be awesome, dude. That's actually like really good work. The drone work. You can team up with real estate agencies and things like that. They're always looking for something.
Third interviews. That's an optimistic. I mean,
Hell yeah, it is.
that's there usually aren't too many more after that. So I like your chances.
Navy Cop's going in for his 8th interview.
Yeah.
How many do we have? He said, I missed the mall bookstores. Walden Books and B. Dalton's worked at Walden
did
Books
too.
years ago and usually walked out with a paycheck or most of one. Nice. Nice. Mario, good to see you, buddy. Yeah. So yeah, the bookstores, man. Now it's all about Barnes and Noble, and I was reading something or just watching something about how they kind of are copying the small town bookstores layouts and kind of the way they're advertising makes you want to go in there, want to sit down and read it and all that. There's a small bookstore by my place run by these older ladies, and whatever they make, it's like given back to the library, which is nearby. And the books are so inexpensive there. It's like $1.50 a book, but
Oh,
it's so
wow.
great because it's like they have seats in the back. You can just hang out, read about stuff. Um, I had asked one lady, I was like, "Do you have anything like on either Richard Nixon or Hitler?" And she was like, "That's quite a request." It's like I'm looking at something. I'm looking for some bios. So they didn't have anything, unfortunately, but maybe next time.
Yeah, they opened up a little mom and pop's bookstore down the street from me. I actually made it in there. Got a couple Christmas
Nice.
gifts, and yeah, they have a little bit of I'm not going to say work to do, but it was really nice, a nice little place. But I think they have to
Mhm.
stock their shelves a little bit
Yeah.
more. But I hope it lasts. I like that small business feel.
Yeah, yeah, it feels good when you've got something like that. There's a nice one that I went to, and gosh, it was in Maryland. It was in Annapolis, Maryland, outside of the Naval Academy. They
Hmm.
have this little bookstore. I can't remember the name of it. They have that saying, the Navy saying, "Don't give up the ship," and
Yeah.
they had their own like little flag said, "Don't give up the book," and then they're just giving those things out. But it was nice because it was like in a 1700s freaking house that they converted into a bookstore. So like the floors are all creaky, and they have like a sign that said more books in the back, and you got to go. It looked like a freaking cave. You're walking through a cave, and it was like a cellar or some crap. But really nice though. It was like I love the cozy feeling of it. And they had like couches or seats outside in their garden. You can go and read if you want to. Very cool stuff, man. I do
Was it
enjoy
on a
those kind of small town.
was it on a cobble road?
It
Like a
was, yeah.
yeah. So I ran by that. There was a race I did. There were actually two races I did in Annapolis when I was in DC. One of them was the Annapolis 10-mile run.
Hmm.
The reason I asked that is because I remember a flag
Yeah.
similar to that. I think it was next to a chocolate shop, if I recall.
It it was.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now. It's called the Old Fox
yeah.
Bookstore.
I
The
didn't
Old
make it
Fox.
in there, but it's like, oh, that looks like a cool place when I was running by. And then I ran by it again for the Naptown half marathon, which went
Yeah.
basically the same route. Yeah.
Is that it there? The
Yep.
Old
That's it.
Fox?
Yep.
Dude, what a cool little place, man. Yeah, what a cool spot. I think about that place a lot because they had a lot of good books, and it was just kind of cozy. You got like all these people sitting there. They had a coffee shop in the back. Very cool spot, man. I can't find anything kind of like that here where I live. They have a few places. Um, like that one picture I put up, there's Nicolas Cage behind me on a picture. That's at a local bookshop around here. But it's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger, right? They don't have anything old school like that. Hard to find anything from like the 1700s that's still up and running around here where I am. That's why I'm kind of curious. We're pushing to go to Europe.
Hmm.
Specifically, I was looking at Scotland and Ireland. I think we talked about it a while back.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see like the old. I'm a big history buff, and I'd like to see the old bookstores and the old castles and stuff like that out there. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. Ireland's a blast. I loved it out there. I liked the small counties, the small towns to just
Yeah, yeah,
peruse through. The shops were great. A lot of them similar to what you just showed.
yeah,
But yeah, just years of culture kind of woven into like a small family business. So
yeah. I
very
love that,
friendly
man.
out there too.
Yeah,
Very
they
friendly.
are. They are. I will say, I learned my lesson: never wear boat shoes on cobblestone streets. So that'll really tear up your ankles a little bit. That's a running joke that I find photos on, like memes, like how Marine officers dress versus how like enlisted dress, and I fully incorporated that into my attire, the boat shoes with the khaki shorts at one point, and then walking down Thames Street over Newport. Yeah, that those brick roads. It's not conducive to the old boat shoes.
Mhm.
Yeah, what we got here. We got Mario says, "I'm not much of a bookworm. I notice more people are going with the audiobooks. Audiobooks are really good. I like them. I was just listening to one today. So I didn't I'll tell you, I started the live stream a little bit later today. I think I started at like 12:30 or something like that. Had a few things going on. My kid had baseball tryouts, so I wanted to be there for him. I gave him a ride there, watched how he did. There was like 70 other kids out there doing the same thing. So I was happy that, for one, I was happy that I kind of missed it for that reason, right? To be a father and be there for my kid. But then when you're there for so long, you watch your kid do his thing, these evaluations for, I don't know, 5 minutes, catch this, throw it here, swing this. And then you got to sit there through all the other 70 plus kids waiting for them to shuffle through. So I brought a book with me, and it was probably I just grabbed one on the way out. I probably could have gave it a little bit more thought before I grabbed it, because it was not an easy read. And I'm thinking, why the hell did I grab this one? It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense. And I'm like, and it was like in the old language.
Mhm.
So why the hell did I pick this one? So that I quickly switched to what Mario said, an audiobook. And was listening to Walking with Sam. Walking with Sam. And it's both a book and an audiobook written by Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy being the guy from Weekend at Bernie's, the blonde guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's a really good writer and speaker and all that. He's a travel writer now, so curious about his adventures with walking with his kid across Spain and France. So I picked it up. I would not think that the guy from Weekend at Bernie's was that good of a writer.
No, I had no idea he was a writer.
No, really good too. I was like, it's the way he writes. It's almost like a journal type entry. But then his audiobook also incorporates his son into it, because his son is like a complainer in the book, and it incorporates his son's voice in there, and how his son was like a real like dude, right? He was like, "Dad, what the hell? I don't want to be here." And then it just slowly grew. Their relationship slowly grew over time in the book. So it was just their accounts on walking across Spain and France. It's really good.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
I started reading. I mean, it's not anything like what we've discussed, but a while back you had one of the writers from a show, the Office Joe, I think it was called. His name was
Yeah, it was Nick Palmiciano. Palmiciano?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think he co-wrote a book called Pig Latin with.
He did. Yeah, I've seen that.
And that
Yeah.
came out the end of last summer. So I got it last fall, and I had it on my shelf. Just I had pre-ordered it, is what it was. So
Yeah.
I started reading that, and I'm laughing. I'm like crying. I'm laughing so hard at some of what's written. Yeah, to the point where I have to like put it down, because I'm gonna wake somebody up. I'm reading first thing in the morning. It's that funny. So if you want a completely different direction in your reading journey, I'd recommend it. It's like watching a very funny comedy.
Yeah,
in memoir
I'm all
form.
for those.
Yeah,
I'm all for those, man. Especially with Nick. Nick's a great guy. We talk on and off on LinkedIn and stuff. Very talented guy. Did the whole Office show on Amazon Prime and all that. Pig Latin. I'm gonna have to check that one out. There was some I was looking at getting into some comedy stuff because I write comedy skits. That's
Oh,
like
nice.
my it's I don't tell many people. I guess fucking everybody knows now, right? I'm on a live stream, but I really I don't tell anybody about that really. But I have these notebooks on skits, and I'm like, if I was ever on Saturday Night Live or something like that, I would totally want to do something like this, right? Like something like as a joke, parents raise a child with like a deep Spanish accent, like Antonio Banderas, but they're from Ohio. They've never been to Spain, but as a joke, they raise them with that accent, and that's one of the skits, and it just kind of goes into this whole story as he grows older, and he's like meeting women. He's like, "I love your accent. Where are you from? Like Barcelona." He's like, "No, Acton, Ohio, or some shit. Just somewhere completely different." Um, but yeah, that's one of the things. So yeah, definitely love comedy stuff. And I'm gonna check out Pig Latin. I knew about it, I just never picked it up.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, it's a memoir. So I'm just yeah, I'm drawn to tears. I'm laughing so hard at this, and I love to laugh. And
Yeah.
sometimes it takes me a while to get going. I'm a big fan of comedy, but once I go and you push that button, I'm
Mhm.
it's tough to shut me up. It's tough to stop me. So
Yeah. What's
I'll get
what's your favorite comedian?
favorite comedian. I'm gonna have to go with Bill Burr. Yeah,
He's a good one.
I think he's a genius because he just touches so many notes, but like everybody from all walks of life will
Yeah.
find him funny. It's he's just got a way. I loved Robin Williams
Mhm.
before he passed. I did get a chance to see him live in Hawaii.
Oh, right on.
Um, and then I really like Dennis Leary, even though he doesn't do much stand up
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah.
He hosts once a year. He does this. It's for charity. And one of my sports heroes growing up was Cam Neely. He was a Boston Bruin great, and he runs what's called the Cam Neely Foundation. And they
Mhm.
do it's a show once a year at the Garden called Comics Come Home, and it draws all of the big talent, mostly from the Boston area, New England area, but sometimes they stretch it out. Like Sebastian Maniscalco was here this year, but it's typically Bill Burr as the headliner the last few years
Yep.
anyway. But it's facilitated and hosted by Dennis Leary. So he's got his footprint throughout the entire show with however many comedians. It's usually between 5 and 10 comedians for a couple hours. And yeah, he's got us rolling over laughing. He still has
Yeah.
that talent, and he performs at the end of like he's got his band, and they always
Mhm.
finish it up with the asshole song. So yeah, I have a soft spot in my heart for Dennis Leary.
Oh man, so you named Bill Burr. So I'm a big fan of Bill Burr myself.
Hmm.
So we can connect on that. He's got he used to do these like little YouTube skits, or like just film himself like on just a
Yes.
camera.
Yeah.
And one of them I saw it was years ago when he was just walking through Newport, Rhode Island, and he was just like poking fun of folks, and he's walking right there, right by that wave statue, the where the guy's like in the water or whatever, right by the Rhino bar. Um, so he's walking by there, just poking fun at people. He's like talking about how rich people are for no reason, just being Bill Burr as he is. Um, I'll tell you one that I guess this guy is canceled now because I have not seen any of this stuff. But I used to roll just laughing was Louis C.K.
Hmm.
just a few years ago. Loved his stand up stuff. Like his show, not so much, but the stand up stuff was really good because I just like the way him and like Bill Burr and the way they do comedy. Like Tom Segura, I'm a big fan of Tom Segura's too. Watch his stuff. One guy I went to go see, he's a former Marine too, but he was just on the Joe Rogan podcast not so long ago, was this dude, Brian Simpson.
I
So I
don't
went to
know
go
that
see
name.
him. Yeah, he's just Google him real quick when you get a chance. And Brian Simpson, funny dude. He was on, we went to go see him here. He was live at this little comedy club near my place. And afterwards, he goes to shake people's hands on the outside. And I'm like, hey, man, I heard you're a Marine. He's like, hell yeah, man. And, we just hit it off with that. But it was funny because he goes up there, drinking his drink on the stage, and doing a little bit of smoking and stuff. And he's just telling jokes, calling people out. It's hilarious. But yeah, he's I like the fact that he's a thinker, right? He thinks about shit that I've never even thought about. That's a lot of comedians. You got to look at it from different perspectives. Like Dave Chappelle too. I watch a lot of Dave Chappelle stuff because he's just he thinks about things that I've never thought to think about, if that makes sense. So very, very good stuff. But yeah, I can go on and on about this stuff, man. I'm a big fan of comedy.
I got a chance to see Bill Burr at Fenway Park. I
Did
want
you?
to say it was 2022, but to watch, historic ball field be filled up at a capacity that hadn't been seen before, because it's not just the stands, it's also the field that's filled up, because the stage was all the way in center field.
That's cool.
Basically facing the stands. It was incredible.
So what about him?
What's that?
What about Bill stands out to you? What do you like about him?
I like how I like how he can, I don't want to say it the wrong way, but he could, it doesn't matter what your background is or what makes you tick. Everybody seems to find him equally funny. Like he hits all the notes. He's like I want to say like a jack of all trades. Like he hits every single note with one sentence, and it could be so raunchy and offensive to so many people. But everybody, like, it doesn't, old, young, it doesn't matter. Everybody seems to be dying laughing when he says it. And I think it takes a certain personality, a certain type of comedian to be able to do that with such like tact and confidence, and to be able to draw laughter in that way. Because I think of my own mom. Like, if she heard foul language or whatnot, she would, this is gross, and shut it off. It didn't matter what they were talking about. But she heard Bill Burr on Netflix, and she's dying laughing. And I think that because of that, it's like he's a genius. He can hit all the right notes and still keep an audience. So.
No, that you bring up a good point, because he does get a little raunchy sometimes, and I think that's where it comes from. It's the for one, his mannerisms, right? He's like, he used to have hair, he's bald now, right? He's just pissed off, and that's what I find funny about him. He finds what pisses him off, and he just goes off that, and it's not like he laughs about it. It's like it still pisses him off. Like, I feel like it genuinely does piss him off. He's like, you want to see hard? I was a roofer, a redheaded roofer in whatever, in 100-degree weather or whatever. He was just, I love that about him, man. Just pissed off. And have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy?
I wouldn't be good at it. I mean, I love to laugh, and I love comedy, but I can't think like that on the fly. Even if I write it, it's no. I've thought about how much of a challenge it would be, but I know my limitations, and I'd be if I went to an open mic, it would be I'd be thinking about that one for years.
Dude, yes, I understand what you mean. I tried one before, and nothing went right. I'll put it like that. Like when you stand up there, like, you know, I've spoken, I've given classes in front of people and all that. But when you go up there with an attempt with your in your mind, all right, now it's my time to shine. I'm gonna make people laugh. And then your mind goes blank. And then you're staring, and then you watch the Joker, right? Where he's like staring at everybody, pulls out the little paper, he's laughing, but nobody else is laughing with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like shit, I forgot. So things just started, you know, it took a little while, things started coming back to me and all that, but not the way I envisioned it. So I'm like, maybe I'll pump the brakes on this and revisit it later when I'm maybe you know, take like an improv class or something, or like a stand-up comedy class or something. So they have some for veterans if you didn't know. It's the Armed Services Armed Partnership, or Arts Partnership, excuse me. asap.org. So they do like it's all free, right? Veteran art classes, veteran stand-up, veteran comedy skit classes, improv classes. I mean, it's like all nationwide. So pretty cool stuff. I've been thinking about getting in with them because I could definitely use some work on it.
Yeah, one thing I loved about seeing Bill Burr at Fenway is he's in the middle of a skit. So he's from Canton, Massachusetts,
Mhm.
and so obviously grew up a Red Sox fan. And he's in the middle of a skit about halfway through the show, and he just stops. Now I don't know if he you know, his train of thought went sideways for a split second, but it was perfect. He said, you know, I got to put this on pause. I cannot believe I'm looking at Fenway Park right now. Like, I can't believe that I'm in Fenway Park and I'm what everybody came to see. And as I was
Yeah,
saying,
that's
you know,
cool.
the way he said it was just like, you know, caused this eruption from the audience. It was
Yeah.
great. But I'd
It
have
was
to
like he
think
was
that it's
coming to a
genuine.
realization.
Yeah, because he's looking at Welcome to Fenway Park. Like, he's facing the stadium as opposed to looking out at center field. So he was literally underneath the Green Monster, and
That's
yeah, it
amazing.
was such a cool line for halfway through to interrupt his own skit to do it. You know.
Yeah, I love that, man. I mean, I shit when you make it and you get those venues like that, that'd be cool. Like, I don't know that I would want to be in such an audience giving a doing stand-up comedy. You know, I sometimes think about it too. Like when I watched Louis C.K. do his thing, and it was like one of those, or even Dave Chappelle, it was one of those stages, but it's in the middle of the stadium and everybody's around you. I'm
Mhm.
like, you got nowhere to go, dude. Like you got to perform at that point. You got to be a professional and perform. You know, that's a little tough. Just thinking about that. A classroom full of people, I don't mind. I don't mind giving a brief safety brief, investigations brief, like I used to do, whatever. But you asked me to try to make people laugh in front of everybody. I'm probably just gonna start laughing myself and hope they join in. Let me see real quick. Go into the comments here real quick. Freaking Navy cop says it's fine, just you and 8,590 of your closest friends. Okay, I think that's when I was talking about the. I've never told anybody about my skit writing, but I guess everybody knows now, so that's cool. U.S. Army Grunt, welcome to the show, man. Mork and Mindy, I remember Mork and Mindy, right? Nanu Nanu, isn't that what he said? Sitcom, love that show.
Nanu. Yep.
Yes, Nanu Nanu, yeah. Mork and Mindy, yeah, those old shows, man, were pretty good. Remember TGIF? I mean, do you recall that TGIF?
Yeah.
Like they had the
Yep.
string of shows back in the day. They don't
Yeah,
have
it
that
was like
anymore.
Family Matters, Full House, Step by Step. Was that one of them?
Step by Step, yeah.
I think Dinosaurs. They're all right
Yeah,
around. That's when they had
dinosaurs,
like,
yeah,
so when you had like 5 channels, and that was prime
yeah.
time for Friday night. I loved it. Yeah.
Dinosaurs, not the mama,
Mork,
not the mama. That's the one.
Mork and Mindy, was that a spin-off
That
of
was
Happy
older.
Days?
No, Mork and Mindy was so Happy Days was like the Fonz and all that stuff. Mork and Mindy was Robin Williams
He was
was
an
an
alien.
alien. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like came in like an egg or something or a shell. I don't know what it was, but he was just an alien. I don't know exactly what he did. I think that was like either early '80s or '70s, maybe. But
Yeah,
I was
yeah, I think
young when that one came out.
you're right. For some reason, I thought that Mork was in an episode of Happy Days, but
Oh, he might have been. Navy Cop said that was a crossover once,
oh, was it?
I
Okay.
believes. Yeah. Yeah, and then like Step by Step, man. I just, that was these were good ones, right? Those were all good shows, and I kind of miss those things because you looked forward to those things back in the day. You sit
Mhm.
there, you'd have your food or whatever, you'd watch your TGIF or your Saturday morning cartoons when you were younger, and now it's like everything is at the ready whenever you want it, right? You can binge whatever you want on Netflix or Disney Channel whenever you want it. There's nothing sacred about it, right? Like my Saturday morning ritual as a kid was sit in front of the TV and watch whatever the hell was on TV, or Friday nights was TGIF. So everything's like readily accessible now. So easy to kind of get distracted by all that.
Yeah, if you missed it that week, you were shit out of luck. You had to pick up the pieces because you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't going to be replaying the next day.
No, hell no. Hell no. Yeah, you have to hope that yeah, exactly, that you watched it, and if not, if your TV started getting fuzzy, you got to hit the side of it.
Oh yeah,
Make sure that
yeah. My
for
parents,
some reason, like
they were not
what?
proud of the replacement or throwaway culture. So we had a jalopy for a television. We were like
Was it the
rigging
wood
coat
ones? The wood
hangers
case?
and aluminum foil and all sorts of crap to try to make it. And then it would almost like be rotating, like from top to bottom, the entire screen. So like at one point, if it froze, you'd have feet on the head on the top of the screen and the head on the bottom.
Oh shit.
Oh
man,
yeah.
yeah. I remember my grandparents had this it was a TV inside of like a wooden dresser,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like. And I mean, it had like drawers and shit, and I'm like, what? They brought it in one time. It was like the heaviest thing. You couldn't move it or anything. And I was so used to like hitting the side of the TV to get things to work. And when this thing started messing up, you're hitting the side, but the TV's in the middle, right? Yeah. I mean, it was heavy, right? It was so well built. I should say it was really well built.
Well, that's when there were pieces of furniture as well. So my grandmother's living room had one of those furniture pieces, probably from the 50s, a television that had oak all the way around it. So it was in like an oak chest. Well, that thing had long shit the bed. I think that had like tubes and stuff in it to power it. So now she had a television on top of that. So this TV was acting as a table or an entertainment system
Makes sense
to hold the new TV. And then when she moved out, when she passed, that was a backbreaker to get out of the living room. It weighed so much.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was like
they're just solid wood.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I recall that they'd always have like pictures and stuff on top of it.
Yes, yeah, plants, everything. Yeah, it was a piece of furniture.
Yeah, I used to sit there and watch the Richard Bay show, if you recall that.
No,
it was like it was kind of like a Jerry Springer type of show, but it was one of those stupid kind of talk shows like Jerry Springer. The Richard Bay show,
like Paul Donahue and
yeah, silly stuff like that, man. But yeah, those kind of miss that stuff, man, because now it's like everything's like I mentioned, everything's at the ready now. So my kids like watching whatever the hell they like watching, and it's constantly flipping through shorts, to YouTube shorts or whatever, little spurts of attention for several seconds at a time or however long the short is, and then move on, and half of the crap is AI now on YouTube. Constantly I'm watching YouTube and stuff, and I don't pay for the YouTube premium, right? I'm trying to cut down on all the subscriptions and stuff. So I'm constantly seeing this AI Tai Chi commercial. Like, oh, have you seen it? Like the dude's
what is my dad gonna look like or whatever? And then it's got washboard abs, and I can't get rid of that one. It's so much louder than everything else that you play too. So it'll jump in and be shouting on my phone.
Yeah. And randomly I was looking it up. I was looking up like legislation as I normally do with like, you can tell how exciting my life is, right? I was looking up legislation and then I saw that California here is they put out some kind of law in 2026. I think it takes effect like in March or something, where the volume of the advertisements can't be louder than anything else that you're watching, right? Because it really is louder, right? Like I just noticed that. I was like, oh shit, it is. I'm having to turn it down every so often. But yeah, I'm like, oh, can my dad at 50, can he get washboard abs at just walking? He's like, how old's your dad? 50? Tai Chi walking is the way to do it. I'm like, what the hell is that even mean? What is that? He's a Navy cop, says he does Tai Chi. Hold on. 7 minutes of Tai Chi takes care of 30 years of physical neglect. Tai Chi does everything, dude. It'll help veterans find a job. It'll take care of PTSD. It'll do everything. I'm telling you. You don't even have to read this book. It'll read it for you. Tai Chi will take care of it.
It's like Chuck Norris, right?
Chuck Norris is the Tai Chi of today. Yes. Or Tai Chi is the Chuck Norris of today. Yeah, man. I think U.S. Army Grunt mentioned it here. 1970s Zenith TV consoles.
I think this was a Zenith too. My grandmother's.
Might have been. Might have been. It says, back in my younger days, no TV signals at all from 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. And I was, it might have been like on Facebook or something that I was doing, posting something up there, and I noticed something. Somebody had mentioned, do you recall back when the TVs would just not show anything after like midnight or after 10 or something like that? It would just be like a flag flying. Like I vaguely remember that when I was like, when they mentioned it and they showed a screenshot of it, I think I was like, wow, I think I remember seeing that. But I mean, I was born in 83. I don't recall, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, you saw that. And then later on, they did infomercials in the middle of the night. So you'd wake up to them trying to sell you silver coins that were essentially worthless.
Yeah.
Now they don't have to worry about it because now it's all streamed or replaying over and over again. That's
right. Yeah, the infomercials. What else did they have? They had it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? That type of thing. Have you ever seen those commercials?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little ball bouncing or something like that. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yeah, so here goes. It's I think Navy Cop mentioned it. Remember the midnight sign off with the American flag and the anthem. In Montana, we also got to see the Canadian flag and the anthem as well.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see why.
I wonder, I wasn't living here in San Diego at the time, but I wonder if they saw the Mexican flag and the Mexican anthem. I doubt it. But yeah, there's an outlet store that I go to down here. It's like down by the border. Right?
Outlets is groceries, right?
Outlet. Yeah. So it's like Nike and Reebok and all these like different stores, right? These outlets.
Oh, outlets. I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you said Alberts. Okay. Yep.
No.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool though. Like I took my kid there for the first time this past year for back to school shopping. And as you're driving there, you essentially see all of like Mexico, right? As you're driving there, you see all of Mexico, all of Tijuana, right? And you see the big Mexican flag right there as you're driving. I mean, you're still in San Diego, right? You're driving there. And it's so easy to drive into Mexico if you wanted to. And I've accidentally done it before, so there's a sign that says last USA exit. And I missed that exit for just being a dumbass at one point years ago. And it's easy to drive out. It's freaking hard to come back in because you're waiting in line for like 5 hours, right? And then you got people coming down the aisles trying to sell you stuff, buy these candies, buy these pieces of gum or whatever, buy this piñata randomly, so But it was cool. My kid's like, "Hey, can we go to Mexico, Dad?" I'm like, "Maybe not today, man. It's back to school day today." But yeah, it is cool to be able to see like a whole different country right beyond the border there.
Yeah, it's like that in Washington too. That was pretty
Yep.
surreal. Just
Excuse me.
I think what was the town? I think it was Blaine, which was the last Navy cop probably remembers or knows better than me. But the gates are always open. Of course, they're manned, but there's this inscription like "May these gates never close." Just kind of symbolizing
the Canadian border.
Yes, yeah, symbolizing the
like the unity between
like
the countries,
fellowship, yeah, between the two countries. So,
okay,
so they're like permanently open, manned obviously by each other's border patrols, but it's
by the Mounties and the.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't. Is that sign still up there to this day? Because I don't know.
It was up until we left. We left in 2021, and when we left, it was in the middle of the pandemic. So we had gone up there the year before, and it had been up there. But
yeah, so he says, Navy cop says, "I know Blaine, but haven't seen that though." Very cool. Nacho Man. What 1-900 numbers first?
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
How about Miss Cleo? Remember Miss Cleo? Miss Cleo. Call Miss Cleo for your free psychic reading. First minute is free. 1-900. Call Cleo.
Yeah, that got so many kids into trouble. Those 900 numbers.
Yeah, I will not do the accent, but yeah, Miss Cleo. Yeah, those. Yeah, exactly. Those 900 numbers. And then you see the parents will see it on the phone bill. What?
Yeah.
what the hell is this? Yeah, those phone bills. Those weren't fun. Yeah, that was a crazy time, man. How it was a simpler time back then. It really was. And now everything's so easily accessible where, especially if you're a parent, you got to just be really careful with giving your kid a device and just trusting that they'll be all right with it. Like I've read things online about kids like being in contact with older like men,
pretending,
and that's kind of and that's kind of scary, right? It's not kind of, it really is. You want to be a protective parent, but you also want your kid to have fun online when they can. So I try to shut off like the chats and stuff, at least for my younger kids. But I've always seen like the popular games today are like Roblox, like Minecraft, and for the kids. And then I have seen that there are people on there who, they have like chats and stuff, people on there who, try to talk to younger folks, through these channels. Which is kind of, I hate that that's a thing. So I try to shut it off for my kids. Actually, right before I retired, I was a guy in my unit who I had knowledge of was caught soliciting younger females. And I was like, whoa, and I had to confiscate his work laptop because I don't know, they were like, NCIS got involved. They're like, yeah, we had to figure out, just grab his laptop. I put it in the evidence locker in the back. And randomly, like his family had showed up to the Marine Corps ball randomly. And I'm like, why are you guys here? Like, this is a weird thing. This is, like, everybody knows that you're pending something. This is weird. But his thing was online because a couple of Instagram folks who were like the Chris Hansen thing that they were trying to do.
To catch a predator? Was that?
Yeah, they actually went. They had like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. They actually found this dude at a Walmart, and he's like, "Yeah, we know who you are because you came over here to meet somebody, didn't you?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "Oh yeah, this is not your picture right here." and they it's like, damn, they got him. And I didn't find out about it until my boss came. This lieutenant colonel came. He's like, "Hey, man, you heard about this dude?" I'm like, "No," because I wasn't on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm like, "No idea. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Come here, Vic. Let me show you this." And he pulls up his Instagram. He's like, "Who is that, bro? Who is that?" I'm like, calm yourself down, sir. I'll watch it." Craziness, man. Like that. You never know what people are into or up to, so you got to really be careful with that. But yeah, I suppose that's the scary part of being a parent and having internet at your kids' fingertips at all times. Sure. Yeah, and Jason Miyamoto, yeah, he is pending court martial. He is. I think the dude had over 20 something years in the military at that point in the Marine Corps, and he I'm like, to throw it all away. I mean,
yeah,
for that. But yeah, I don't know. I think he got reduced, or he might have gone to a court martial. I don't know. This was like 2 years ago. I'm sure you can. I'm not giving the guy's name out, obviously, but I'm sure people can find him online. Was it Navy Cop says that there's a dad that set up a kid-friendly Minecraft server because he was fed up with the company not blocking pedos that has several thousand users with background verified. All very cool.
Cool.
Let's see, what's Nacho Man? Teens dating, sending each other photos that could get them a felony before high school graduation, to include sex extorted for money. Yeah, that's a scary thing, man. It really is. It's something that I've talked to my kids about before. Like my daughter, when she was younger. My boys, I talk to them often about, we just have that kind of heart-to-heart, that kneecap to kneecap conversation, right? In hopes that they become good adults, good human beings, right? Just have a good moral compass, good ethical values and things like that. So I do talk to them often about that stuff. Just be careful. Don't get involved. If you see somebody at school, maybe who doesn't give you the warm and fuzzy in your stomach, like, hey, this guy might be a little off, maybe don't be around that person. Don't be around that person. But yeah, man, that's crazy times, man. Crazy times we live in. And I try to stay off the news, Rob, and it's kind of like all over the place now. So I'm like, it's hard to stay away from all that. So I was just kind of starting off the live stream today, just talking about that. Like the realities, talking to the kids about the realities of what life is, realities of today's world. It's not the same as like when me and you were growing up and going outside with your bike ride with your friends and stuff like that. I mean, depends on where you live, obviously, but just kind of opening up the realities of course, age dependent, right? But the realities of the world to the kids. Because you don't want to let somebody out there for the first time and then they're just experiencing all of this for the first time, and you don't want your kid to be like Indominus Rex in Jurassic Park and just doing everything at one time and not really understanding what the hell they're doing. You want to prepare them effectively for life.
Yeah, it's tough to drown anything out too, because it's on everything. It is. If you don't have social media, it might not be on that feed, but you might have some other form of media. Even if you're just looking up a video on YouTube, it's going to be right there in your face because that's what's trending. That's what people are paying attention to. It's in emails. It's advertised. It's I'm the same way. I've been making a concerted effort not to dig in too deep, especially emotionally, because it's I don't remember who said it. Was it Joe? That most of the arguing and the problems are happening in such a small sector.
Yeah, that little concentrated area.
Yes. So we can, for the most part, go on with what makes us happy, and it's not affecting us. But yeah, it's tough to stay out of it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. But I recall going to like parties and stuff like the holiday parties and all that. And
Yeah.
it's hard to stay away from those conversations. Like I step away from those conversations, and I usually get sucked into those things when people are like, "Hey, you were in the military.
Yep.
You're a retired Marine. What are your thoughts on this?" And I tell them, you don't want to know what my thoughts are on anything. Trust me, because somebody in this group, this is not going to end well
Mhm.
from both sides, right? I'm a very middle of the road type of person, but I do have opinions, which I don't publicly share very often because nobody really cares. But I'm like, you don't want to know what goes up in here, man. Trust me.
Yeah, I got asked at Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
what my thoughts were on something, and I was taking a bite of the mashed potatoes, and I said, my thoughts are these are the best mashed potatoes I've had in a long time.
If only everything can be as good as these mashed potatoes
Yeah.
are right now.
What are your thoughts, Rob? These are the best mashed potatoes I've had in
Yeah.
a long time.
Excellent answer, man. Because sometimes you get sucked into those things, and I'm like, you don't want to know, man. But great, whatever. Continue living your life without having to ask me that question. So I served honorably, I tell them, and I'm like, it was my honor to serve. I had a great team and was around great people, and I truly loved every minute of it, and I would do it again if I could.
Yeah, concur.
Yeah, here you go from U.S. Army grunt for you there, Rob. At 65 years old, that was well said, sir. I'm the same way. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, it's it's I don't know if I don't give those opinions out too much because people don't care, and it just sparks debate on both sides. And like on LinkedIn, I see people that have businesses, and they're very open about that. But I'm like, once you open up your opinions and then you're attached to your business, you pretty much lose like half the people that want to shop at
Mhm.
your place of business, right? So best to kind of leave all that stuff out of there and just focus on your business.
And I never understood like why it's so important to change somebody's mind. Um, that's one of the best things about this country is you get to
Yeah,
own that freedom of choice and freedom of
right.
expression. And um, you like you said, half of the country is going to disagree with you on
Mhm.
whatever it is you believe, and that's a good thing. That means there's checks and balances, and that's our right as Americans. So doesn't mean anybody's good or bad. It just means there's a difference of opinion, and if
Yeah.
everybody is molded into this one common um, frame of mind,
Mhm.
we don't have a very solid American culture, or solid constitution. So
Yeah.
to me, it's
I
kind of
find
a.
that
Go ahead. I'm
there's
sorry.
there's very limited times where that works, where everything is one way and that's the way it is. When there's I forgot the name of it, homogeneous
Mhm.
cultures, like Japanese, maybe like Icelandic, Norwegian, things like that, where people grew up with that. That's what they know. That's the norm in their country. Like if you're a foreigner and you move, like if I was a foreigner, right, I am moving to Japan, I would be considered a foreigner, right? Um, Putting my, attempting to instill whatever opinions on their culture is not going to work out well for me. I'm going to have to conform to their standards, their culture. So, in those aspects, I think it works well. And I mean, I've been to Japan. I feel like it works really well. Streets are clean, people are respectful. I've never seen anybody have any type of like 3 years out there. I've never seen any altercations with anybody, at all. So crazy how that is, but That I don't think that would happen in the U.S., man. There's too many mix of cultures, mindsets, opinions, things like that, and it's okay to have an opinion, like you mentioned. You know, it's okay. That's what makes kind of the U.S. what it is.
Hmm.
You know, different opinions and cultures and mindsets and everything, kind of like the melting pot, as they call it. You know, and that's part of the reason why I enjoy talking to people from different walks. Like, why do you think the way you do? Not that I'm mad about it. I'm just trying to really understand. Big reason why I picked up this freaking book right here. You know.
Yeah, you know what another good one is, Vic? That it's based on. Let me make sure I remember the name of it before I start. Yeah, I do. So it's based on a Vietnam POW camp, and the Hanoi Hilton, the most famous
Mhm.
of all of them, and it's individual biographies. It kind of wrapped into one story. Now the title is Defiant. You're just gonna have to emphasize, like if you search it, you're gonna have to emphasize Defiant, comma Vietnam or something, because Defiant is also another book title that couldn't be further from what I'm describing.
Mhm.
But the reason I came across it was actually in a library when we lived in California, and I thought it was based on something completely different. And once I started
Yeah.
reading it, I could not put it down. And
Hmm.
I think you'd like it, just based off of what I've heard you say about the book you're reading, and it was really well done.
Defiant. Is it Defiant? The POWs who endured Vietnam's most infamous prison, the women
Yes,
who fought for them, and the one who never returned.
yes, that's the one.
Defiant
That's the
by
one.
Alvin Townley.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
Look at that. $0 for the audiobook limited time deal. I like
Yeah.
it.
It's phenomenal. It's definitely a good a good look into people at their in their worst circumstances and are still able to overcome and like band together.
Yeah. I like that. I like the cover photo of it. It's like the bracelets, the POW bracelets,
Yes.
or the
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Until they all come
There's
home.
there's a another a good book that I had recently read. Let me see. I think it's called Happiest Man Alive. Happiest Man Alive, I think it is. The Happiest Man on Earth. The Beautiful Life of an Auschwitz Survivor. So this dude accounts, I say this dude, this gentleman, Eddie Jaku, he accounts all his time in these concentration camps. But essentially he's like, I learned something from everything that they put me through, you know, and he was just happy he was alive the next day. And I'm like, what a freaking mindset. He's like, if I would have lost that mindset, that positive mindset, he would have been gone a long time ago. So it really, it kind of stood out to me, and it made me think, like, remember Georgia Joe when he jumped on here and he's in the hospital bed? I was like, this dude is all smiles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's two ways you could have took that: just pissed off and sad, depressed that you're in a hospital bed, or just like, hey, you know what happened. I'll get back into it. And just that PMA, that positive mental attitude, man, that really is a game changer. So that's a good one. The Happiest Man on Earth, man. If you ever get a chance to, it's not a hard read at all. It really is like this dude's like journal, kind of just kind of talking to the reader. It's almost like, I mean, dare I say it, potentially written at like maybe an 8th grade, 9th grade level, because it's just him reliving or writing down his accounts, but it's really, really good in depth in what he goes over. I mean, it's got
That's
like
genuine.
26,000. Yeah, it is. It really is genuine. It really is. That's what I loved about it. Yeah, so that one, I'm going to check out that Defiant book. There's one I was going to pick it up at. Yes, here it is. I was going to pick it up at a bookshop yesterday, but it was more of a picture book than not. I was looking for the novel, And if you want one that kind of reads like a fiction book, but it's actual true stories, it's here, I'll put it up on the screen. It's called Endurance. Endurance. Gosh, where is it? Endurance. Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. It's about the British ship Endurance setting sail for Atlanta, or the South Atlantic. It got stranded, and then this dude, Sir Ernest Shackleton, essentially had to keep his crew alive, and he had to use like these psychological methods to make sure that people were like still kind of upbeat, give everybody jobs, like a purpose on the ship, while the ship was like stranded in this like South Atlantic iceberg area. So I learned about it through this. Like, this guy talks about a piece of it. He has like 2 pages on it, and I never knew about this thing, right? And then I looked it up. I'm like, you know what? That might be one that I need to put on my list, because just the voyage and how this guy kind of psychologically had to prep his men to live another day was kind of incredible.
Well, that is that mentality and that morale is one of the steps of survival. At least what they trained us. So there were 7 steps, and I don't know if this is universal across the board, if it was just specific to the Coast Guard, but it was recognition, inventory, shelter, signals, water, food, and then the last one was play. Because if you can keep your mind occupied and keep your roles defined and keep your mind in the game, then you're gonna kind of balance that will to survive, leverage that will to survive. So I can see how important that was, because once people stop caring and start I don't know, kind of shutting down, I guess, if it would be the phrase.
Yeah, they're stewing in their own mind.
Yeah, your will to overcome something is going to wane gradually. So,
yeah, absolutely. I just added. It was a Navy cop put out there. One Life: The True Story of Sir Nicholas Winton, British businessman that saved 669 Jewish children during the war from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia, saving hundreds of family lines. That's excellent, dude. I just noticed I added this book onto my Amazon cart, and since December I've been adding books on there just to be able to, to come up with the next read. And I'm at about $1,022 in books so far in my cart. I may not get to it.
Don't cash out in one fell swoop.
No. It's just, you're on Amazon, you like something, you just add it to cart, right? Or you could add it to a wish list. I just added to cart, but then I ended up, taking it out of my cart afterwards. And yeah, God, there's so many, man. There's one that I added on there is called Who is Government? It's just short stories and accounts of different federal employees as they, were kicked out of government and then brought back into government, similar to like what I went through with the whole Doge thing.
Yeah.
So I added that guy on there, and then The Body Keeps the Score, which has a lot to do with like trauma and PTSD, which is something that really interests me, right? So it happens to be like a bestseller book, and one of the best books that I've heard written on trauma. So definitely going to check that one out. The Body Keeps the Score.
Tell you what, Vic, I'm gonna wrap it up on my end.
Yeah, man.
It's 5:20 on this side, on this coast.
Oh, no shit.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah, do your thing, man. It was great having you on here, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, and I probably won't be able to tune in on Wednesday, but hopefully if you're on Saturday, I'll jump in the chat for that.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good, bud. All right, good having you on, bud.
Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too. Yeah, so that was Boston Rob. Second act he added on his screen name. So a lot of good stuff a lot of good conversation on books that we're talking about completing in 2026. I already have my list of 12, and I'm like, if I deviate from that list, I'm never going to get anywhere. So I have to keep on track. The first one I'm reading here for the new year is The Laws of Human Nature. Then I'm kind of going down the list. I already published the video on the 12 books I'm reading. Of course, like I'm trying to get into like the Bible, and that's always been kind of like hard to read because it's just a compilation of different books from different authors, different people, So got many questions on that. So that's always not trying to finish that in a month, but that's always going to be part of the list. I think my next one might be 1984 by George Orwell. It's been sitting in my shelf for so long. I just got to get through it. I probably read one page of it since I bought it, and then I put it back on my shelf. But I'm very curious about it. Very curious about 1984 by George Orwell. Navy Cop says, one more for the quick and easy comic reading list, politically correct bedtime stories. I like that, by James Fenn Garner. Politically correct bedtime stories. Writing all these down here. Hell yeah. So yeah, so the question here, the topic of the day, I suppose, is who do you want to be, especially now in 2026? Who do you want to be? So anybody in the chat there, if I ask you right now, let's pretend that right now it's December 2026, and then I asked you, hey, who have you become this year? Today, who are you now versus who you were in January of 2026? Who have you become? What have you done? What have you accomplished? Where have you gone? What have you seen? What have you done? Who have you talked to? Those type of questions, and I'll pose that question to anybody in the comment if they in the chat, if anybody wants to answer that. What are you looking to accomplish? Who are you looking to become in 2026? I'll put it this way. I write down a lot of stuff. You all have potentially seen my other videos about me journaling, things like that. I talk a lot about that, right? And I'm always kind of trying to fine tune who I am, if only to become a better person for myself, for my wife, for my kids, to become a better father, husband. Back when I was serving on active duty, to become a better Marine, right? How can I be a better leader, a better mentor? How can I follow, my leaders more effectively and become more of a team player? Because as they say, you cannot be an effective leader if you've not been an effective follower first. So I think about that stuff a lot. So I've always kind of reflected back at the beginning of the year on who I may want to be at the end of the year, who I may want to have or to become. So I pose that question to anybody out there. Who do you want to be in 2026? And are you on the right track? Have you already started that? If your idea is to maybe, I don't know, work out a little bit more, maybe drop some body fat, are you taking the necessary steps now to do that? Or when is that going to happen? Because if, it's not going to happen December 1st of 2026, if you're trying to get it done by December 30th or 31st or whatever of 2026, it has to be kind of an ongoing thing throughout the year. I've seen Navy Cop says, for me, it's to have my finances on better standing, my business off the ground and operating, more involved with the veteran organizations, less stressed, more involved in getting out of the country, out of the country. Okay, I read that right. Out of the country. Curious, Navy Cop, where are you trying to go? I know we talked a little bit about you wanted to go to Idaho, I believe it was. Where like are you like getting out of the country to visit somewhere new or to potentially move somewhere new? That's actually a topic I'm bringing up. I'm making a video on that. So if you've not seen one of my videos that I just put out, I think I put it out yesterday. It was the 10 great states for veterans to move to in 2026. And literally I just went through like each state, just looked at, what they offer and ranked some of these in, top 10 order. And I put that video up. But then I was also looking at, different countries, the different veteran-friendly countries that either have good medical facilities or like low cost of living or are expat friendly, things like that, to put out there for folks, for veterans to see. Because I too have been thinking about that myself. Like, hey, what would life look like moving elsewhere outside of the country? And I didn't really think about that until I visited Costa Rica last year. I went with my family, and I loved the kind of like the slower pace of life out there. How the friendliness of the people. There was a good expat community, a large veteran community out there in Costa Rica. And then recently, I went over to Guatemala not so long ago, and also saw that there was a nice veteran community out there. And it got me thinking, like, hey, there is a potential for a really good life outside of the states. Not that I don't love the states, right? I love my country. I love that I served, but things are getting expensive out here. Things are getting costly, and there's a potential for a really good life somewhere outside. Let's see, no, yeah, U.S. Navy grunt or U.S. Army grunt. Excuse me. Yes, thank you for watching that. Navy Cop says, I want to get a few acres in North Idaho. Washington is getting too politically weird and out into the country, hikes and such. Oh, into the country. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so I read it wrong. Not getting out of the country, but getting into like the countryside, I assume. Let me see. The country hikes and such, maybe some travel, hence the travel business. Very nice. I'm curious about the travel business, man. How's that going to work out? How I did not know that that was still a thing. Like travel agents used to be a big thing back in the day, and I know that it's largely run by like these organizations, businesses like Expedia and Travelocity or Priceline and things like that. Um, how's that going to work? Like, what does your travel business look like? Are you going to be a tour guide in Idaho? I'd come to Idaho. I've never been to Idaho. I don't know anybody from Idaho. I don't believe that I could probably point it out on the map, but it would take me a little bit. But I'm curious what let me see what Army grunt. I loved Germany, was stationed in West Berlin 1979 to 1983 and 1988 to 1991 and loved it. My wife is from Berlin, been married 44 years. Excellent. I always wanted to move back since IRL kept us from doing it. That's great, man. I love that. And congratulations on being married for 44 years. That's amazing. I can only hope that my wife and I are married that long. That's insane. That's awesome. I applaud you, man. Let me see. Navy Cop says 1099 self-employed contractors still work for some bigger agencies and can compete with Expedia and Travelocity and such. Cruises, hotels, tours, tickets, still a thing, and set our own commissions. Very cool. Very cool. I like that, man. I wish the most success for you. I would just be curious to see how you market that. So I know I know of one travel agent, but they do cruises more often than not. Somebody on my Facebook page. So I'd be curious how that would work out. Northern Idaho is incredible. I believe I don't know how you say that, Coeur d'Alene area. I've heard of that area. I've heard of it. Dad used to guide tours on the Montana locations of the Lewis and Clark Trail. Nice. He used to dress up in old Western fur trapping, leathers and such. Navy cop, man. I would love to see you dress up in that. Just when you move to Idaho, just dress up in that old, like the trapper hat, like the old Daniel Boone. You'll have to change your name to Daniel Boone MA1 or something. Dress up like that, man. I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome. U.S. Army grunt. I got to see history to the Reagan's first visit, early 80s in the fall of the wall in 1989. That's amazing. That's some history right there. I love that. That's the reach I'm looking at around Coeur d'Alene. Very cool. Well, you know that I've never been really to the Midwest. Never really had a reason to go. Never been to Texas. I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I tell people I've never been to Texas, and they look at me like I got three heads. Like, you've never been to Texas? Like, it's a thing, right? Is there a reason? Like, am I missing something? I don't know. But yeah, I've never been to Texas. I've only kind of been on the coasts, Jersey, Florida, mostly, California, Oregon, a couple other places here and there, but mostly on the coasts. Never really had a reason to go to the Midwest. I know of some people who live in Nebraska. I know of many people who live in Texas. Maybe one day I'll make it out there. I don't know. Maybe that is who I want to be this year, is the guy who goes to the Midwest. Maybe in 2026, that is who I become. See, I'll send you a pic I took of me in Western leather coat, the beard, and an Australian duster hat. All right, right on. As long as it is an appropriate picture, Navy cop, I will accept it. As long as you're not just wearing a leather coat and a beard. Oh man, so that's cool. That's all good stuff. I've got stuff added to my list here on who I want to become, and I've seen some folks write on there on the comments who they want to become in 2026, what they wish to accomplish in 2026. And I think we're still early enough, right? January 10th, to still talk about the goals in 2026. So what about working out? What about like the physical part? Have you all started that? If there's a there was big talk about the New Year's resolutions. I don't really make New Year's resolutions myself. The only thing I really put into place was the 12 books. But kind of like the physical thing was kind of an ongoing thing for me, right? Getting more physically fit. I'm curious, if you made a New Year's resolution, like going to the gym, getting fit, is that still in place? Is that still a thing for you? Are you still getting that run in or that workout in every day? I'm curious to hear. Nate Cop says, I made sure it was a PG-13 pick. Sent it to the Green Logbook email. Excellent. Well, thank you. I'll check it out here in a few. I want to give a quick shout out to a sponsor here really quick, if you all would allow me. So this year was one of my goals this year was to connect with more folks. And I was able to connect with some sponsors to help out with like the software costs and all that stuff of the show. And one of them is right here. He sent me a sticker, Wild Bills. Let me see if it'll come up. Wild Bills Craft Beverage Company. So very cool organization, very cool business. So this guy's a Navy veteran who runs this craft beverage company. You could probably find it at one of these beverage stores or these big beverage stores around your area. I don't know. I think they're called like Bevmo or something. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but you can find his stuff, that beverage. It's like soda, right? It's like craft soda. And they go to these big events like Sturgis and all these things throughout the year. They're located nationwide. And what they're doing right now is they're looking for veterans out there who may want to join in on their franchise. and they have like it's like 50% off for veterans and first responders. They give you all the training, they connect you with all the training and all that. Good group of folks, a lot of support. So if you're ever looking at getting into a franchise, then definitely check out Wild Bill's Craft Beverage Company at drinkwildbills.com. Very good stuff, very good people. Was just overjoyed to connect with them because I really believe in their mission. And just the dude that runs it is just an amazing guy. Again, Navy veteran, and he's looking to connect with a lot more veterans to bring on his team. So, Wild Bill's Craft Beverage Company. Let me see here. What Navy cop slept through New Year, so I don't know. Surprise, 2026. Excuse me. Slept through New Year, so I don't believe I am required to set a resolution. If I didn't see it, it didn't happen. Very well. I was going to ask on the YouTube short you did, writing in the journal, was that you or AI? If it was you, that's some serious handwriting and straight lines. I did a double take watching that. Well, Navy Cop, man, I do appreciate it. That was 100% me. I actually set my camera up right here on the desk. And where is it? Where's my little... Oh, here we go. That's a little candle that was burning right there. Usually set these things up at night when I'm writing, just kind of set some ambiance, if you will. But yeah, absolutely, that was me writing. I take pride in the penmanship, man. I've been working on it for a long time. I've been I believe that cursive and calligraphy is slowly or maybe even quickly becoming a lost art. I asked my kids to write in it, and they're like, yeah, they don't teach us that in school. Well, sit down because I'm going to teach you that myself. But yeah, I have been doing it for many years. I write a lot of my journals in cursive, and it's just enjoyable, right? And I have like fountain pens here and there, and I just like feeling the nib glide across the paper. Fountain pens like that one right there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, stuff like that. So this is like a German brand named Kavico, and a very cool, like thick fountain pen. But yeah, but I totally enjoy it, man. The one I was using was this guy right here. This is a Traveler's Journal brass fountain pen. So it's fun. I like it. It's slowly becoming lost art, and I'm not going to let it die on me, man. I'm definitely working on it. And as you can see right there, I'm doing the Bart Simpson. I am working on my cursive. I am working on my cursive. I'll just randomly start jotting stuff down. Navy Cop says, dude, I'm wholly impressed. I only wish my handwriting was that clean. Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Just got to start, right? That could be your 2026 thing, right? Write in cursive. Let it be known. Put it in writing. Today I'm going to write in cursive. Yeah. But that's, I don't, something about like when you read like the Declaration of Independence, or when you see the way they write, or the old timey way that they write, I love that. Right? Of course, they have more of a calligraphy style with like the pen and quill, but I love the way it looks, and I sometimes try to mimic that with my pen, with my writing. But most of the time, I'm just trying to get thoughts out on paper, so I'm just writing down, however it comes out is how it comes out. Let me see here. Navy Cop says, I bought a fountain pen in England, pen kit in England, and played around with it for a while, but the cursive is still somewhat shady. Not the worst, but does the job. Yeah. So I'll tell you, when you said it was AI, I'm not that good at AI, so I would not be able to come up with that whole thing in AI. But yeah, literally what I was reading on the video was what I was writing. on there. It's just kind of sped up, right? Because obviously I write slower than I read. So some of the words don't link up with what I was saying, but you get the gist, right? It's all there on paper. Actually, let me see. Now you got me curious about this stuff. You know, there who said this quote, man? I got to put it out there for everybody. Let me see. Teddy Roosevelt said it. Teddy Roosevelt said, now I love this quote. I'll put it out here for you. Um, it's a much needed reminder for many uncertain times. Do what you can with what you have where you are. And I happened that evening when I was writing that, when I was doing that video, actually ended my journal entry with that. Do what you can with what you have where you are. I remind myself of that sometimes because I am constantly, I find myself researching a lot, and sometimes not enough execution because of the research, right? I think it's called analysis paralysis. But you know, I'm always thinking, oh, okay, well, I used to think this way. Oh, I can't make a YouTube video because I don't have the right equipment, the right camera, the right microphone. You know, I need to get outside. I need to do this. I need to do that. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. I quickly found out nothing's ever going to be perfect. And you don't have to have the best gear. You don't have to have a fountain pen. You don't need to have the best, you know, notebook paper to write this stuff down in. It could be, you know, I go to Walmart and I pick up their little composition books now. It's like $1.50 or something just to try things out on, or just to use as little memo pads. The thing is, you know, you just have to start. And I think that not starting is what kind of hinders us, but what sets us back a little bit. So I love that quote from Teddy Roosevelt. You know, Teddy Roosevelt himself, and I'll put it here on the screen. Very good stuff. I did a video on him a while back, and I did like a study on Teddy Roosevelt when I was in the Marine Corps. Teddy Roosevelt, do what you can with what you have where you are. A much needed reminder for these uncertain times. You know. Maybe Cop says, don't have to be, it's all in the prompt. It was really well done, short. Oh, I appreciate it, man. I do. So in the video, I started it off with some classical music. You know, here's my office. One of these days, I'll do another office kind of tour. I got a lot of stuff on this side. I got a banker's lamp, which I picked up finally. I wanted a banker's lamp for so long. I have a banker's lamp right here. But I do have a speaker here on the desk. And when I am writing at night, I have to listen to music without words, because if they have words, they're going to jumble me up. I won't be able to concentrate on either what I'm reading or what I'm writing, right? So it has to be without words. A lot of times it'll be like lo-fi music, jazz music, or more classical. I've been kind of dipping into the bossa nova type of music as well, but stuff like that. But I lean towards classical, and I love classical. I think that one was, gosh, it might have been Mozart. I think, I can't recall who it might have been on that video. Navy Cop says, speaking of quotes, some of the best quotes are from Winston Churchill. Hell yeah, man. Winston Churchill, good documentary on him. I just recently saw. I love that you brought that up, man, because that dude was a powerful figure in his time. I mean, a lot of the stuff that he has said still resonates. U.S. Army grunt. My grandkids can't read letters my mom wrote me when I was in the Army in cursive. I was shocked in a way. Kids nowadays do everything on PC for them. Yeah. So that's you can look it up online on YouTube. There's a few like news segments on this, how um, a lot of colleges are kind of having a struggle because AI is doing most everything for the students, right? Either some teachers embrace AI, some teachers say no, that the kids, the students should sharpen their critical thinking skills, thinking critically, thinking for themselves versus having a machine think for them. Um, but yeah, the you can Google anything, it'll give you the answer. And now you can Google a question and then the whole AI answer prompt will come up on the screen. So really, there's no need to really think about anything. That's kind of scary. It is. So I think a lot of as parents or even grandparents, right? It's kind of up to us to, the teachers are partly there. They're partly the solution, and they're teaching our kids or our grandkids or whoever. But I think that that's not where it ends. That parents have a big part in teaching their kids as well. Just it's not just about sitting around a dinner table and speaking and talking to them about their day. It's also, hey, let's read something together because a lot of kids don't read. There's a lot of news articles on that, a lot of research on that as well done about how many books kids read nowadays, and it's less than one a year from what I've seen. Um, it's incredible, and I make it a point. I have my office here. I can close my door to my office, and that leads out to the hallway, to the bedrooms, and all that stuff. I make it a point that when I'm in here and I got my light on and I'm reading, that I keep that door open because I do want my kids to see that part of me. That our to set the example, right? Our father reads, and he's doing something with his time that doesn't involve just being on the phone all day or whatever. So it's the optics of it. It is. Let's see here. Navy Cop says, I have many notebooks from my dad when he was in college. He should have been a doctor because his handwriting was always atrocious. Well, that's cool. At least, he wrote. That's good. I was in high school from 83 to 86. Our AI was hoping that there was Cliff Notes books at the local bookstore for the current book we were reading at the time. Yeah. There is an app that I purchased a while back. I purchased like the yearly. It's called Blinkist. And now I'm not like affiliated with this app at all. I'm not promoting them or anything like that. But I will tell you that it is like a Cliff Notes version of books. So I actually, when I was working at Surface Warfare, I mentioned it to my to the 1-star admiral that I was working with, and he's like, "Yeah, I got the same thing. It just makes things so speedy, right? When you need to read something, it essentially gives you the synopsis of of each chapter. It breaks it down to like little blinks, they call it, in little chunks, probably about 4 or 5 minutes long, each section, and you finish a book. That's their selling point. Finish a book in like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. Now it's not, you don't get in depth on the stories within the book or whatever, but um, it is pretty good for what it is. Just the kind of like Cliff's Notes version, either on audio or you can read it on your phone. So pretty good piece of gear for what it is. It definitely does not replace the entire book, though. I see Navy Cop says the reason is the reason I have so many books at the house. I have 6 bookcases of books from many genres is because of my dad. He was very well read and always reading 2 or 3 books at a time. That's cool. See, I never grew up with that. I never seen my family, my parents open a book. They said that they have read, but whether or not they did, I don't know. But that's cool that you were around that. Boston Rob says, I want a banker's lamp in the worst way. They just seem so relaxing. I've been on the lookout through various antique and thrift stores in the area. Yeah, dude. So I got one right here. Like it's green. Well, I can't turn the cameras on this side, but I got it set up on a stack of books, right? Just to make it a little bit higher. It is relaxing. You have it on at night. It's like this green glow. Just kind of sets the ambiance, right? Like you've seen them at libraries, right? That you have like at the New York Library or I'm sure they have some in Boston, right? These big libraries with and they have the banker's lamp in the middle. It's just kind of like it gives you that's like I want to read. I want to write when that thing is on. It gives me that feeling of wanting to do that. So a lot of it is like when I built out this place the way I wanted it to. A lot of it was building it the way to make it comfortable for me to want to be in the environment, to want to read. Like I bought that lamp right there. That was cool, but it's kind of like an in your face light. Uh, Life of Tariq. Hey, welcome to the Green Logbook, man. Good to have you. So, Life of Tariq, first time seeing you in here, man. Question for you: who do you want to be in 2026? That was kind of the topic that I'm trying to touch on in the video today. Feel free to comment. Let me see. And before, I guess this will be the last one. If anybody wants to jump on the live stream for a minute and share what they've got going on, their goal in 2026. If you are currently in the middle of completing that goal or doing that thing, I will post this in the comments. Jump on the live stream if you so wish. Let's talk books. Let's talk goals. Let's talk being an effective parent, an effective father, an effective human being, mentor, leader, all of the above, because I read about it all. I like it all. I've done it for 20 years in the Marine Corps. I've had every type of leader you can think of, good leaders, bad leaders, toxic leaders. Yeah, they're out there. They're out there. Thankfully, it didn't last very long for me, but I can quickly see that it was not going to work out well for me because I just did not agree with a lot that was happening. And, you have that moral compass, right? That moral compass of, right and wrong. I mean, folks in the military are not stupid, right? You know right and wrong. You know what it's kind of stepping the boundaries or walking the line of something. So that's exactly what I was kind of encountering. So I didn't like it. Thankfully, it didn't last that long again, but things like that happen. Curious if anybody out there has ever experienced any kind of toxic leadership, because that could really alter your mindset. I always told the folks that worked for me, I'm like, look, the best thing about the military is that you encounter so many different types of personalities and leaders that you can shape your own style of leadership so quickly, right? You may have a good leader, a decent leader, a great leader, and a bad one, and you just kind of filter out what you don't like, take with the good, and then put that into your pack or whatever, and then use that to lead your future Marines, soldiers, sailors, airmen, whatever it is. That's the best part of it. Let's see here. I have put if you're not already a member, I have put up a post on the military retirement group. So this is on Facebook, right? I run the military retirement group on Facebook, and good group of folks. I have I think 6 or 8 more to approve today. I get like requests to get approved into the group every day. I'm the admin for the group, so I had put up this this post recently. It was actually yesterday. It was called to SBP or not SBP. That is the question. SBP being the Survivor Benefits Plan. So if you're a retiree, and you probably know what the Survivor Benefits Plan is, and the story is, when I retired from the Marine Corps in 2023, I wasn't well versed in what the survivors benefit plan was. So I opted in for the sole fact that since I didn't know exactly what it was, and I didn't want to not check the box because you can't really get into that after the fact. I decided, hey, let me just opt in for it, not really realizing that it costs about 55% of. No, actually, no. It costs several hundred of dollars to pay into the SBP. It's like an insurance plan. But essentially, what happens is if I was to pass away, then this SBP would pay my spouse, my kids, 55% of my retirement pay, which it's a good chunk, but it's not the whole thing. I wish they could get the whole thing. The thing that I did not know at the time was there's only certain times when you can actually opt out of the SBP. It can only be like if you're a retiree, it can only be between your second and third year after your last day in active service, or after 5 years after last active duty date, as long as you are rated 100% VA, service connected. It has to be 100% PNT. And, right now I hit the sweet spot. I'm between my second and third year of being retired. So I'm going to be opting out of the SPP. Now, I'm not saying you should if you have the SPP, simply because everybody's situation is different. What I did was I happened to get a term life insurance plan that fit everything, that covered everything for my family, including paying off my house if need be, if something should happen to me, and they'd be covered. So at that point, I would rather get that full lump sum payout rather than have, my family get, whatever it is, 2,000 or whatever every month, just little increments in every month, in every month of their life. So you really got to look at this because you can't just get out of the SPP whenever you want. It's crazy. Navy cop says, I had a civilian boss that I worked for as a network tech for a year until I was mobilized for the second Gulf War. Thankfully, the guy was a nightmare. Yelled, screamed, angry, horrible person. What did you learn from that, Navy cop? I'm curious. Did it affect you in any way? Did it shape you in any way? Oh my God, what is this? I find that my Facebook. I'm on Facebook right now simply because I'm on the desktop, right? I only access it from the desktop because, as I've showed you, this is what is on my iPhone screen right there. That's what I have. I don't have the social media and stuff on my phone. I access it and I find that my my friends list on Facebook gets smaller and smaller every week. Simply because we have a choice. If we don't like to be exposed to, like what I'm doing right now is just reading here, just strong opinions by people. Now I'm a fan of not debating, but understanding people's perspectives. But when it's kind of like a constant thing that they're trying to ram down your throat, about what they believe, it starts to get old. And we have, being it's social media and being that they're on your friends list, we have the ability to just remove that person, put them in timeout, if you will, snooze them, or just completely remove them. So sometimes it gets overwhelmingly tiring. So that's exactly what I'm doing. My friends list is probably going to drop a few folks this week, and that's okay. It's for the best of the mental health, right? Let's see, Navy Cop. That rum should be used in moderation. No, no, I learned how not to be that person, but it does not affect me, or it does affect me on how I handle people and shy away from difficult situations. Not always helpful. Yeah. I'm glad you shared that, man. I really do. Um, again, it goes back to like the book that I'm reading, right? The laws of human nature. And in here it talks about difficult people, different personalities. Some people, the people who yell to get the point across. And I was looking at a lot about the military civilian transition and how, at least in the Marine Corps, I'm sure in other services as well, but at least in the Marine Corps, it's like if when you need something done ASAP, you give the order and you require immediate obedience to those appropriate orders, right? That's what we define as discipline in the Marine Corps. Um, I found quickly that it doesn't work that way in civilian life. It doesn't. You don't. You build relationships and respect and trust through uh, more so not telling people what to do in an aggressive manner like we would in the Marine Corps, but um, kind of giving them buy-in into the team and explaining why they're doing this. And I learned a little bit about that, and I started implementing that in my Marine Corps career. When I learned about it, giving folks buy-in. You're doing this because it helps the mission, and kind of explaining why. Because I wanted these folks to want to do that thing, and not just, hey, this is an order, do it ASAP. You want them to understand how it helps in the bigger picture. So, really interesting stuff about how we lead in the military versus how an effective leader works in civilian organizations. I've got it in my mind that I'm going to do a book report. I haven't done one of these like since I was in high school, but I really, really like. I've been watching a lot of YouTube channels on this stuff. Folks who are like really well read and learn from what they read. And I felt like I've skimmed through so many books that I'm like, you know what, I don't really retain what I read. And at least like when I do write the notes, I put it in a notebook, and it's like hard for me to find it later on. So I'm doing a lot of where is it? Again, let me give you a good example of what I mean. Doing a lot of margin writing and a lot of underlining, a lot of just note taking inside these books. Maybe this one's not a good one, but some of the other ones, yeah, I've been doing a lot of margin writing on here just so I can kind of go back and learn about it a little bit more. Look at this, the law of narcissism. Such good stuff in this. Such good stuff. Curious to know what else is everybody reading. I know Boston Rob mentioned Pig Latin book by Nick Palmiciano. Nick Palmiciano was a guest I had on the show. He produced a show on Amazon Prime. It's kind of similar to like The Office, but it's called Office Joe. And it's all about this, I believe it was an Army staff sergeant who's just going through daily life. So Pig Latin by him, the Defiant Vietnam book, One Life on Sir Nicholas Winton, politically correct bedtime stories. All good stuff. All good stuff. I appreciate it. U.S. Army Grunt says it took me years to get used to how slow civilian world is versus military. It was 100% correct, sir. It is, right? It's a different animal. It really is. It works in different ways. You can't really use the "do it because I said so" type of thing. That doesn't really work well in civilian organizations. You know. But it's an ever evolving and mostly self education type of experience. Where I'm never going to be perfect or the expert at anything. I don't believe I am an expert in anything. I'm a student of most everything I'm reading and I'm seeing. So am I ever going to be the most effective leader? Probably not. But I strive to get there when I can. Yeah. With that, your questions detracted me from what I was doing at the first place. Was trying to put these little green flags on each chapter that I was reading, so I can go back and flip to it really quick. U.S. Army Grunt says, even at my age, it's still tough to get used to. I'm curious, sir, how old are you? How young are you, should I say? How long did you serve in the Army? Well, you're a grunt, right? But it's any like specialty that you were doing in the Army? Like I'm sure that there's different specialties, like in the Marine Corps, they have O-351s, machine gunners, O-311s, just basic infantry riflemen. Curious what your specialty was. 65 years old, sir. I thank you for joining. I love connecting with folks, especially like around your age, because you can learn so much, so many life experiences. Things that you've seen, things that I've never seen. You've experienced things that I've never experienced. Um, I've talked about it before on the podcast here on the live stream. My wife's grandfather was a Vietnam veteran, Navy Vietnam veteran, and he's a little older, right? He's probably in his 90s, and I wish that he could recall more about his time in, but his son, my wife's uncle, was also a veteran, more Desert Storm era veteran, and they went into this gentleman's house and they essentially made it like a museum. They took all the stuff that he had out of storage, all his Navy awards and all his re-enlistment papers and all that stuff. They put it under the glass table, his dining room table. He's got this huge dining room table. They put all these awards and stuff under the table. So I'm just sitting there, I'm reading it all, I'm like, oh, okay, he's got orders to whatever this, what's the one in Pearl Harbor, right? He's got orders to Pearl Harbor. That's cool. He's got orders here, there. He's got his awards up on the wall. He's got, pictures of people. I'm like, wow, his house is now like a museum. I'm learning so much about him. Whereas when I went to go ask him, he could not, the gentleman's a little bit older. He could not remember him. So I'm really thankful that they did that. U.S. Army Grunt says, 14 years infantry, only straight leg, mostly some mech. Well, thank you for your service, man. Really do appreciate it. You're always welcome here on the Green Logbook. And I'll tell you, every Sunday morning, all right, at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do this thing called the Military Retirement Podcast. So I'm a retired Marine Corps Chief Warrant Officer. I was a Chief Warrant Officer 3. And my co-host on the Military Retirement Podcast is a retired Army Chief Warrant Officer, and he lives over in Italy. So, you can easily just log into the Green Logbook. We stream it to all these different channels. But it is a connection similar to what I'm doing here. But him and I talk about, relevant issues, veteran issues, things like that. Um, so it's fun. It kind of we've been doing it for about a year and a half, and so you are always welcome. U.S. Army runs and everybody else out there always welcome to stop by and have a chat and bring some coffee while you do. If you don't have any coffee in hand or some sort of morning beverage, I don't care if it's a hot chocolate or whatever. No entry for you. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. U.S. Army grunt says my dad was 23-year Navy man with 2 tours in Vietnam. I spent many days. I spent many days was TV reports on TV with mom back in the 60s. My light went out here, so it's kind of getting dark here. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit. Hopefully that works a little bit better. Let's see, Navy cop. I need to order my dad and mom's military service records. Dad earned a Bronze Star in Vietnam. Wow, which I didn't know until he passed. That would be awesome to have. That'd be great, and potentially you could request from the I forget the name of the actual office, Navy personnel office, to get that award, that Bronze Star. They'll actually mail it to you. Let's see, funny. I am on my fifth or sixth cup of coffee at that time in the morning. Yeah, I'm trying to wean myself off of it. So that was my thing was getting off of the coffee so much. Just recently, just a few weeks back, I tried to drink tea instead of coffee, and I just had a major headache the entire day. So I'm like, man, it's the caffeine, right? I've been doing it for like 20 years. My big thing as a Chief Warrant Officer was just grabbing my mug, walking from office to office in the morning while my stuff gets set up, like the computer and all that stuff gets set up for the day. I got to check emails and crap during the morning. But while all that stuff gets set up, fill up my coffee with my coffee pot, walk around and just see how everybody's doing. Just you know anywhere from the new private or the new PFC that just checked in, seeing how his weekend went, and making sure that the Marines are taking care of him, all the way up to the colonel's office across the hall and seeing, hey sir, telling him, hey sir, how's the weekend, how's the wife, how's the kids, etc. Sitting down on his couch and just having a talk with him for a little bit as we start our day, and that is normally how I've started my day for the last I don't know, probably 10 years since I became since I went the warrant officer route. Even before that, I was walking around doing my coffee thing. Let's see here. Doctor tells me all the time to drink more water. I am reminding him coffee is made with water. you know, that's how I talk myself into it as well. Coffee is mostly water, right? It's just, I suppose soda is as well, right? No, I've taken myself completely off soda several years ago. I vary, like it's maybe like a can of soda a month, if that. I can't do it anymore, man. Too much sugars. It doesn't sit well. Give me a second here, guys. I will be right back. All right, back at it, back at it. You hear me okay? Everything? Am I still back on here? Okay. Here we go. Yeah, just had to splash a little bit of coffee in my eyes. Keep it going here. So yeah, curious Army, U.S. Army grunt. Where are you joining us from? Like where in the world or in the States? Florida. Awesome, man. Big fan of Florida. I grew up there for part of my life. Big fan there. Had a good time out in Florida and then joined the Marine Corps out of Florida. My MEPS was over in Tampa. It was, yeah, number one on my list. It definitely was. You know, we were playing with the idea of moving back to Florida after I retired from the Marine Corps. Got a good friend who lives out, well, many good friends who live out there. Um, you know, both high school friends and military friends. Um, but you know, things didn't work out that way. Maybe one day we'll find our way back over there. But yeah, definitely looking to potentially uh, make Florida a future home. I mean, all my family still lives out there anyway. Very cool. Yeah, I go back there every so often. This maybe this summer I'll be back over there hanging out. One of my live streams was out there in Florida. I've got to show you all this. This is hilarious. I've never seen this. Is I don't know if anybody here follows Terminal Lance. It's freaking hilarious, man. It's there was a Marine Corps recruiting station. There's like a raccoon running through it. Have you all seen that? Let me show you this trash. This is hilarious. Let me know if you can hear it.
Brand, give me mine, I'ma tag every brand, give me mine, give me mine. What's a date to a beat? I'ma slide, ain't no break, stop the beat. Ain't no sign, ain't no gate, how to reach. I'ma slide, I'ma slide, I'ma slide. Brand, give me mine, I'ma tag every brand, give me.
What is happening here? Is that what recruiting stations are doing nowadays? Let me see. Boot camp in Florida. When there was still a Navy base in Orlando. Quite happy to go there and no Great Lakes. Great mistakes. Michigan. Haven't been back in years. A couple of shipmates out there. Yeah, I heard about the Orlando thing. I think Navy cop had mentioned it in the past. I go to Orlando all the time and never even knew that there was Navy training out there or excuse me, a boot camp out there. Yes, sir. Very much lol. That's it. It is freaking hilarious. Raccoons and shit. I tell you, I went. It was like maybe it must have been a couple, maybe 2 years ago, and I went running one morning, and I usually like running maybe 5 in the morning, going out early because there's nobody around. Right. I like the solace it gives me, the solitude, the feeling of being by myself and my thoughts and all that. Just being there by myself, and I'm running on this area, more so on the street, and the garbage cans were out in this neighborhood, and they were on the street, right? And as I'm running by these garbage cans, three big ass, like huge raccoons run out directly in front of me. Like I almost step on these things, and they start chittering. Right, they made this weird noise, and they ran right in front of me into the sewer, like the opening by the curb, and just kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. Like I had my not the in-ear headphones, but like the other ones that go right by your ear. So I was listening to music, like really kind of low, and these things just shoot out right in front of me. Let's see here. Navy cop says they consolidated the boot camp, San Diego, Orlando, Michigan to Michigan, so all the recruits get to freeze their tails off now. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. San Diego is no walk in the park right now. This morning it was about 40 degrees, and it was cold this morning here. So it's we're not used to it out here in SoCal, at least not being that cold. So I had to go out there. I was wearing like like I mentioned, my kid had baseball tryouts and all that this morning. So I went out there with a big old jacket. You know, everybody had their jacket and coffee in hand. And yeah, we're just not used to it, man. Even in Florida, like, I don't know what U.S. Army grunt, what was Florida's weather this morning? You know, I'm sure it gets pretty cold out there from what I recall. Damn, not used to it, man. I got to live somewhere warm, dude. I don't know how, like, that's why I couldn't live in like Nebraska or anything like that. I mean, these places did hit the top 10 like list that I made yesterday, but not necessarily where I would move. It says 65 this morning and 80 in the afternoon. I suppose it depends on where in Florida you live, right? If you're in Miami, probably a little bit warmer. Up north, maybe a little bit colder. And I was selected for recruiting duty in 1984, and the only way I could get out was being a drill sergeant. So off to GI school I went. Well, the better of the two evils, I suppose. Let's see, about the same here as it is here in Washington, except it started raining a few weeks ago. And the rain, and it rains until the end of time, hence another reason to move to Idaho. I can take the cold. Rain sucks. Well, cold rain sucks. Like warm rain doesn't feel that bad. Cold rain, yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. Hey, so I'll tell you this. I would love to see all of you on the Military Retirement Podcast tomorrow. Again, you can access it via the Green Logbook, just same channel here, or the Military Retirement Podcast YouTube channel. The cool thing is, you know, all of our live streams and our episodes also are part of the Veterans Across America, the REITs Across America radio network on iHeartRadio, where we're part of their network. So we have a spot on Friday nights where all our stuff gets streamed on there, or at least uploaded and recorded on, or played on there, So very cool stuff. I would love to see a lot of you on there tomorrow morning. If you're up 8 a.m., you should be up anyway. If you're like me, you're up at 5 anyway. So definitely make it out there. And thank you all for liking and subscribing to the channel. I think we're at, what are we at now? About to hit 8,600 subscribers. And once I hit 10,000 subs, I'm doing a giveaway. Okay. Same thing as I did at, I think it was 7,000 subs. And then I didn't get a chance to do one at 8,000 subscribers because it was just like, it just happened so quick. It went from like 77 to 8,300 for some reason. I don't know what the hell I did, but that was fun though. So with 10,000 subs, I'm going to be giving away something. And what I like to do, similar to what I did last time, I like to join up with veteran-friendly or veteran-owned organizations. Here, I'll actually show you what I'm thinking about doing here. I believe the last time I did one, it was, and I think Navy Cop, you won the last giveaway, and it was for a Jarhead uh, leather binder journal cover. So what I like to do, I again, you've probably seen my videos. I love to write. I write in my journals. I like to write thoughts, ideas, whatever is coming across my mind. During my time in the Marine Corps, I carried one of these. This is one that I made myself out of a Write in the Rain kind of notebook. And as you can see, I have in here my old green logbook that I carried. So I thought, how cool would it be to join forces with a veteran organization or a veteran company and get our own kind of green logbooks made. So I started getting these made, right? They're made for like field notes, notebooks. It's a green, it's like a leather cover. I think the one that you got, Navy Cop, was brown. I can't recall. Then I started making these in green. So very cool stuff. Got a few of them here. But yeah, green leather cover. And it's essentially similar to this, where you just kind of hold your stuff in place, right? Something like that. So I'm thinking about doing a giveaway at 10,000 subscribers, giving away one of these leather green covers. So, and it smells so good too, right? The leather. And so the cool thing about these is it's made by, you could probably see the little emblem on here. It's a JL. It's made by Jarhead Leather. It's an active duty gunnery sergeant in Virginia who makes these by hand in his studio. So very cool stuff. Looking forward to doing a giveaway. It may be this, it may not be this. I don't know yet. So oh gosh. Also want to give a shout out to Commemorative Concrete. So they, a while back, they sent me this Marine Corps Eagle of an Anchor concrete thing. It's essentially one of these. It's a concrete slab, right? This is another one I got made. But this is a picture that they were able to laser put on this. It's like a 12-pound concrete slab. And that's a picture of my kids promoting me to Chief Warrant Officer 3 in Hawaii. So very cool, very close to my heart. I love this. Commemorativeconcrete.com. Definitely check them out if you haven't already done so. Oh yeah, there you go, Navy Cop. It was lighter tan. Well, I'm glad you got it, man. And it was just a random name picker. I just put everybody's name on the list and then just spun the wheel, and then whoever's name came up. So very cool that you got it. Let me see here. U.S. Army Grunt says we have a cold front coming down tomorrow, so temps will be dropping. Well, damn, dude. I guess you got to wear your jacket in Florida. So with that, thank you all for joining me on the Green Logbook. Awesome to have you. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. Do all those cool things that everybody always asks you to do. If you're on Facebook, please consider joining the Military Retirement Group. It's not just for retirees. It's also for veterans. It's open to really anybody. If you served 4 years, if you served 40 years, it doesn't matter. You are eligible to join here. I'm the admin on here. I'm the one who adds people into the group once they request it. So definitely would love to see some of you on there if you have Facebook. Oh, look at that. Just hit 8,600 subs. Very cool on the Green Logbook. Very nice. Awesome. So with that, tomorrow morning, we're going to be doing the Military Retirement Podcast. You can join in from here, the Green Logbook, or you can go on the Military Retirement Podcast, the YouTube channel, and it'll be me and my co-host, John, all the way from Italy, Army Chief Warrant Officer, retired, talking about good veteran stuff. And I would love to see many of you out there. On top of that, come Monday around, let me see here, around 2 to 3, about 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a live stream with a gentleman named Rob, and he's the one that runs Ebby Travels. This guy is a freaking genius. Army captain, I believe he's an Army captain, active duty. This guy essentially took all these Space A Facebook posts that they put out there, all these terminals, and he consolidated all that stuff onto a website. So it updates every 20 minutes. And essentially that stuff, you can opt for it to shoot the emails out to your email. And very, very good piece of gear. I love it. If you are intrigued by it, if maybe you are trying to go Space A and maybe you want to jump on ebietravels.com, EBIE travels.com, use the code The Green Logbook for 20% off. And I think the first 45 days are free anyway. So we'll talk more about that on Monday. Don't worry about it. We'll talk more about it on Monday, and it should be a good conversation. It's going to be a learning point for me, very much so. So with that, unless there's anything else that anybody wants to put in the comments, I think my eyes are about to start bleeding at 3 hours in on this live stream. Going once, going twice. That seems to be it. All right. Sounds good. It was good to hang out with everybody. Navy Cop, U.S. Army Grunt. Let me see who else we got here. Oh, don't forget it. We also have the memberships on this channel. I opened it up a while back. I know Navy Cop is a member. Who else is a member? I can't recall. I didn't see any other names on here. If you are, and I'm missing you, I'm sorry. I know Boston Rob is as well. If you would like to join the membership, please consider doing so. It definitely helps out the channel and getting software like this paid for. So with that, I appreciate everybody on here. We'll see you tomorrow on the Military Retirement Podcast. This has been The Green Logbook. Let me figure out how to do this outro thing. Here we go. Bam, sis.